Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are
the Yerky Boys.
Oh, this is a special episode, isn't it? A very special episode because it's a two episode spectacular.
Wow. I mean, we had one of those before.
Right, but that was the intro. So,
sure.
But this is just a two. It's a special event. This is episodes 9 and 10 of the Animorphs TV show, The Capture Parts 1 and 2.
And according to my records, I don't know if yours matches up with this, but my research indicates that both of these episodes aired on January 10th, 1999.
See, I don't know what to make of this, because that is what IMDb says. Wikipedia says they aired on November 3rd and 10th of 1998.
Those are almost the same date.
Now, if we go by the IMDb dates, then it seems that these episodes aired later than the ones we're going to cover. Like, we're going to cover ones that then kept going in November of 1998. But IMDb does agree that this is the, numerical order.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this.
Like, these are 9 and 10. I have no fucking. We need to get an old TV guide or something, because this is really, it's a problem.
You're saying that according to IMDb, episode 11 aired in November.
Yes.
And these aired afterwards in January.
Yes, that's correct.
Because it would make some sense, it's feasible to imagine that they took a break for the holiday season and came back in January. But it's also, also makes sense they might have still aired episodes in November. So I don't know what to do.
Yeah, in fact, if I take the, because IMDb says that next episode aired on November 17th, which would put it in line with the Wikipedia air dates. So it feels like some channel released them in this order, and some other channel maybe just forgot and decided to do it as a New Year's spectacular.
It feels like they re-aired them, and IMDb just didn't realize it was a re-airing and not the original date, and nobody bothered to fix it.
I mean, I guess that is also possible.
Because it seems logical that if there's exactly the 2 weeks in between, and we're missing 2 episodes that for some reason are 2 months later, probably they slot in there.
I need a direct source. I'm sick of these weird, non-agreeing sources here.
Yeah, it's very strange. Who are the people putting this together? Who's figuring this out? I don't know where they're coming from.
Now, hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't fucking have it anymore. Shit. No, because we had a marathon of Animorphs that we skimmed through to check these messages on our Patreon, which you can subscribe to. Patreon.com.
It was a recording of a Nickelodeon Animorphs marathon. Including commercials.
Yes, and one of the things they kept showing was, hey, stay tuned for the premiere of the 2-parter, The Capture.
Yeah.
So, in theory, if I knew what date that was from, maybe I could figure something out, but I don't have it anymore, so I can't look.
Yeah, that would require a little bit more sleuthing.
Yeah.
I'm also looking at Seropedia, and I don't even think they list a date.
How are they even supposed to know?
We don't know. I don't know.
This is our new cover. We don't have covers to talk about, so we have to talk about the air date.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't fuck around too much because we do have 2 episodes to discuss this week.
Yeah. I mean, also, these are the 2. While we're still on the topic, before we have to move on, because we still have time, these are the 2 ones that have the production values earlier. Like I said, we skipped a couple between when Axe was introduced and then the later Axe episodes. These are the 2 that come in between in production order. So that's not helpful at all, really.
No, it's not. I don't even want to know about the production order because it confuses me and I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
Well, I won't bring it up going forward, but I just figured, I'd left that mystery open, and so now it's solved for what that's worth.
Right. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Both these episodes are directed by William Fruitt,
Hmm.
who we've already discussed. He did The Message, which I don't think we liked The Message. I think we both said that was a bad one, right? Or I don't remember.
Yeah, I feel like it was
No, wait.
fine.
The Message is the one where
Yeah.
they met Axe. Oh
Yeah.
no, that one
Yeah.
was
That one
okay.
was fine. Like,
That one was
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Never
No.
mind. Never mind. I was wrong. It was fine.
Yeah. No, I don't think it was bad.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 whether or not one of these was bad, so I took a shot. And I was
And
wrong.
writers, we have Neil Shusterman again on both, and Mark Zicree on part 2, but I guess not part 1. Now the Shusterman Zicree combo with Fruitt as the director, this is actually the exact same team as did The Message.
Wow.
So that's exciting, right?
Can I get the Schusterman Zicree combo? And I'd like to supersize that, please.
With extra happy
Maybe.
cheese combo, hold the cheese.
Now you're talking. That's what I like to hear. I mean, I think we can dive into it. That's really all the prep I think we need to give. We got 2 juicy episodes to discuss.
Yeah. There's like a bunch of new actors that I didn't really look into.
Are there? Are there that many?
I don't know. There's a bunch. There's
a bunch.
At least
Now, how
6,
much is a bunch?
At least 6, not counting Bongo the Lion. And actually, interestingly, Aaron Ashmore. You've talked about this before, but he plays Sean Ashmore's double in part 2 at some point, but I don't know when.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. Bongo has been credited before. Bongo's
Okay, he has. Okay, I wasn't sure.
It's the same line. Every time there's a line, it's Bongo.
Yeah, I figured that must be the case, but I didn't remember it was Bongo.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't, they don't credit the trainer of Bongo like they do Brian Renfro, Homer's trainer.
Bongo's just tame. Homer, a little bit of a shit. They kind of had to get a guy to rein him in, but Bongo's just a good lion.
Yeah, that's just lions
what
just
he's
do
told.
whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just zoo staff, I guess.
Yeah, this is book 6.
Wait, this was books. Capture was book 6?
Yeah.
God, that feels so. In my head, it feels more like book 8, 9, 10. Like that feels so early for this book, but that's just how it's in my memory.
So much shit happened in the early book. I was going back and I was looking at the notes for book 6 to just be like, let's refresh myself on everything that happened in it. And, I get to the end and I'm like, boy, tune in next time for book 7. And I'm like, God, remember when it was just like, man, so much happens in this series. And I got to sit there and think, next book, you get to meet the fucking Elemist for the first time.
Yeah, back when 25 consequential, life-shattering things happened every book.
Right.
I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
My memory of this book, all I remembered was the part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Part 1, to this day, to right now, this moment, I did not look it up. I don't know. Is this accurate to the book? Because I truly don't remember what the fuck happens in the first part of this book.
The basic premise is the same, but all of the details are changed.
Okay.
So, close enough, right? But now when you say the first part, you mean the first 100 out of 154 pages. I specifically notated that in my notes, where the interesting part starts.
Yeah, and I also mean literally the part 1 of today's episode.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because that's where they split it too, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, but anyway, I mean, yeah. I guess we gotta set it up. What are we starting? We starting the episode? We going? We moving?
Yeah, why not? Is there anything else we need to cover here? Oh,
no.
You know what? I'm just gonna put this in your head before we start. This is the book that introduces famous characters Juan and Terry, who do not appear in this episode.
Damn.
Which is a disaster.
Fuck. Fuck.
I
They
know.
they do make a lot of basketball references,
They
but
do. They do.
yeah.
So, sometimes they mix scenes around. We could still see a Juan and Terry appearance. It's not
Maybe
out of the
they're in
question.
the background. Maybe they're not
Mm.
named, but if we keep an eye out, maybe I don't even think there's a scene in the school in this episode, though, is there?
There is a scene in the school, actually. I'll check it when we
Okay.
get there.
Okay.
Something is wrong. I mean, since when does a clinic need all this security?
But if the governor's now a presidential candidate, the extra security makes sense.
Yeah, but there were other things. They were wheeling in these barrels marked hazardous chemicals.
I sense your involvement.
Jake! Come on, Cassie's almost out.
Get this door.
So did we get them?
Each and every one of them, blended and boiled.
Way to go.
We better go. Come on.
Just to be sure. Well, we open in a restaurant. Jake's family is out to dinner because his dad is opening a new clinic, right? For
Yeah,
health.
what's because I also completely forgot. Like, Jake's dad has a job. What is it? Is he a doctor? Do I
Yeah.
know this?
So this is probably, in theory, this is good writing. I don't know if it actually is, but so Jake,
In theory.
listen, Jake's dad is a doctor. I think he's a pediatrician, but in the books, there's just a new health clinic opening, and I don't think it has anything to do with Jake's family. But there's like Yerks that are infiltrating it. So in theory, like tying that information in is probably a good way to kind of, bring it all together. Except that's only true if I care about the fact that his dad is a doctor going forward and that matters. Right? Like if I never see his dad again, I don't care about that.
I still think it's smart. I don't know if it's good writing, but it's smart writing. It makes sense to you should try to center the things around your main characters rather than just be like a thing. Although if you go too far with that, you run the risk of making it like a Skywalker thing where it's like, why is every single important thing in this that happens directly related somehow to these 5 kids or whatever?
Yeah. At least here you have like a tie-in, right, which is Tom, right? Because, they don't really say it in the episode here, but in the books they do make a whole point about like Jake's connection is that like Tom is rapidly rising through the ranks of the Yerk. His Yerk is getting big and important. So like maybe there's something there, right? Like, oh, the reason it's connected to Jake's dad is because of Tom or something. I don't know. It could work.
Sure. It's fine. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's
like I said,
fine.
I didn't remember, so I was like, sure, I guess his dad opened a thing.
Yeah,
Fine.
sure. There are some basketball bits here, I guess. No Juan and Terry. Kinda sucks. But we do get fucking Victor Trent shows up at the restaurant to say hi to them.
He sure does.
He
sure does.
does.
Can we just talk about
Yeah.
this restaurant first for a
Yes,
minute?
tell me about the restaurant.
This is how we hit 3 hours today.
Oh god.
So first of all, I really like the opening shot. This is like a nice restaurant. This looks like a fancy.
Yeah,
It's like
Jake's
an
got a
upscale
fucking,
place.
Like 2-tined fork. Like what the fuck
Yes.
is that?
Well, I think
that's
it's like
too
a
rich for my blood.
Well,
That's some
I
fancy
mean,
shit.
we don't need to get into it on the podcast, but
I'm used
an
to like Arby's. Yeah.
I was going to say an Arby's is too rich for your blood.
No. No, Arby's is exactly where I belong.
You're like, the fries are curly? That's a bit too fancy for me.
are
Just
you talking about? I
basic
love
straight
my curly
fries,
fries.
thank you.
My
No
meat
need to
mountain,
curl my fries.
Big Montana. Mmm.
Anyway,
Listen, if the Arby's staff doesn't know you by name, I don't know what to tell you.
so this is the equivalent of
One time I
of
walked into an Arby's and the person behind the counter recognized me by face, even though it was their first day, because they also worked at the Taco Bell before.
Jesus Christ. Are you sure you want to? Do you want me to cut that?
No.
You're okay
Leave
with that
in.
being public?
I want people to know.
Holy shit. Did they give you a number, like a suicide hotline number after?
They probably should
Did
have.
they call the police? Oh boy. They're like, I'm sorry, sir. I think you've had enough. I can't serve you anymore. Oh boy. Yeah, well, so this is like last week you were complaining that maybe not complaining, but noting that you thought that Axe's actor wasn't eating messy enough for
Yeah.
you.
It's like it's less that he wasn't eating messy and more that like you could tell he's a very neat person in real life. He doesn't know how to be
Right.
messy. Yeah.
Right. And when you say you could tell, I think the you is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think it's
That's
I
probably
think
true, yes.
it's that's so in the
Right.
same way, maybe the things I notice about this nice restaurant are things you won't have
Mm,
thought about.
I'm sure that's true.
Well, namely, first of all, they have a "Please wait to be seated" sign, which just looks like it was printed with like a clip art from 1998 Windows software, and it's like taped to the back of a chair or something. It's like it just doesn't seem like the type of decor for this fancy restaurant. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's-
I wouldn't have thought of that, but I'm looking at it now, and it's literally second one. That's how far into the episode we are.
yes,
But yes,
that's the first frame.
it is a piece of paper with like the bottom is like curling up. It is very clearly just like scotch taped at the top. This is
Yeah.
that is my kind of establishment.
Right. Now then I was trying to figure out what they're eating. They do Jake references it later. He calls it vishy stuff, which of course means that it must be.
French?
I'm actually not sure if you'll know what this food is.
Oh, I don't know what this food is. I know that that word though.
I love this fucking odd couple relationship we have. It's this of course is vichy soie, which is a French potato soup. Traditionally served cold, but you can have it hot as well. It's quite tasty.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
you've learned something new about
I have learned something new.
French cuisine.
You learn something new every day.
They also have water glasses, which also, by the way, look kind of crummy but it's the 90s. I don't know. Maybe that's what things were more like back then. And dinner rolls. It's fine.
Well,
All right.
they had their Canadian studio budget.
Mm-hmm.
This was fancy for Canada.
Maybe, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, also, I mean, I guess, well, they're not really, I don't know. They're probably not supposed to be in Canada, but, there's some French people in Canada. Maybe this is a French Canadian restaurant.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They probably know better than you, honestly.
Nah, I don't know about that.
I mean, let's be real. The French, there's a mountain of difference between like a French person and the Quebecois in terms
Right.
of how refined they are. Even I know
Right.
that.
I have been to both places.
Holy shit.
Yeah, pretty impressed, aren't you?
I've been in France. I like drove through it
Okay.
in a car once.
Sure.
I didn't
that
get out of the
counts.
car.
That's why you don't know about Vichyssoise.
Exactly.
Because they've got Vichyssoise carts on every corner in France.
Wow.
Yep. You just hold out your hands and they ladle some in. Is this the first time in the show we actually have seen Jake's parents?
I think it is because they are both credited. They're two of the new actors are Greg
Okay.
and Nikki. They're credited on IMDb as Greg and Nikki, and I was like, who the fuck is that? So, but that's who they are.
We don't really see much of his mom other than this scene.
No.
I think the dad is fine though. He does
Yeah.
a fine job.
Here's the thing about the dad. He has this face that is just like it's an inherently goofy face. Like he belongs in a comedy, right? He should be the comedic dad figure. And there are times where he's trying to play a serious scene and he'll give a smile and I'll be like, he looks silly. Like I don't dislike him. I just think he should be making goofball dad jokes and, screwing something up.
He sort of
Around the
reminded
house.
me a little of the actor who played the mayor on Buffy. If you're-
I don't
you guys-
remember him very well. It's been a while since I saw
Oh.
Buffy.
I feel like he's like a whole season long arc. I feel like you would know if
Yeah.
you saw him, but he's a very like genial dad, like goofy kind of uncle vibe.
Mhm.
Yeah, or like the dad from Clarissa Explains It All. How about that one? Does that one work for you?
Yeah, Yeah, sort of.
How about Hal from Malcolm in the Middle?
I'm
No?
glad you have all of these. Listen, one of these is going to work for somebody listening.
At least one of those three will work for you. Victor Trent shows up.
He shows up. I love how when he comes in, every single person in the restaurant turns to look at him.
This reveal is, it is a long, prolonged shot tracking him through the restaurant, not showing his face.
Yeah.
Until he finally gets to the table. I mean, I think you and I, like, there's no one else it could be that makes
Right.
sense. It must be Victor Trent, but it is really funny how long it takes for him to get there. And we still do we know why everyone is like, Victor Trent, sir, right this way? Like, what actually is his position other than just being a rich guy? Is he a politician? Is he a stockbroker? Like, what is this guy?
I don't know. I was wondering about that because there's so early when we first meet him, Visser 3 is like, Victor Trent is useful because he's so wealthy and powerful. And in this episode, somebody, I think it's Jake's dad, says that he like built his way up from nothing. So
Right.
now I'm wondering, like, did the original Victor Trent build his way up from nothing, or did Visser 3 make up a Victor Trent persona for this morph and then use his Yerk knowledge to build himself up? He does work with this politician guy here, in the governor, in a way that implies to me that he's just a rich guy, right? He's like an influencer, mover and shaker, not in the new TikTok sense, but like in the
Okay.
in the sense of like the 90s. He doesn't
Tim Zoomer
seem
was
to be-
confused.
yeah, a politician. Well, he's got to go talk to his dad, Jim Boomer.
Yeah, right. He thought that Victor Trent was on TikTok like I've just tried this new skin cream.
I would watch this.
I don't have a Victor Trent impression. I don't know what that really is.
It's good enough. I got it.
Okay. Yeah. What were we talking about? I got so distracted about TikToks and influencers. Right. What the fuck is he? Yeah, we don't know. My headcanon is maybe this is a Frolus maneuver.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's an original guy.
Yeah.
And he was able, because he can just put yerks in people's heads, he just like, he got into enough politicians and maybe a newspaper writer or something that he manipulated people that within like a month he could just become a big deal. That's my headcanon.
Mm-hmm.
Like he kind of like inceptioned himself. And because it's sort of
Yeah.
pre-internet, people couldn't like they're like, oh yeah, that guy, I guess he's been around. I haven't heard about him. He's a big guy.
Yeah, that's true. You could just, pretend to be like a business mogul because all the yerks in control of these small businesses like turned over control to you, and you pretend you're a savvy whatever. And then like you get all the yerk journalists to write articles about how cool you are. And yeah, you could do like
Yeah.
a little manufactured persona thing. Why not?
You get Ellen Jarrow to write a memoir for you.
Sure.
Can you name one other ghostwriter? Can we remember the other ghostwriters? Just a little quick pop quiz.
Oh God.
Lisa Harkonnen, but it was something. It wasn't Harkonnen. Harkrader?
Yeah, it might be Harkrader. That might be
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I think
I'm
that's.
sure
I
I
think
would
that's
know
the
them
only
if
one
I
got.
heard them.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we
Yeah,
don't need
who
to dwell on
cares?
that. I mean, this is fun. So Victor Trent, we
Yeah.
find out because he wants. Besides he has a relationship with Tom. Is that the only reason he's coming over here? Because
Yeah,
he's
he's-
working with the thing.
Yeah, he's helping
the dad.
fund Jake's dad's clinic, which is like scary for Jake. Oh no, my family or whatever.
And then he joins them for dinner.
Yes, and we get
And
this amazing scene.
Yeah, this is
So-
just fun.
It's good. This is great. This should have been a scene in the books, honestly. This is like, this
Yeah.
might be the first time I see something original in the TV show, and I'm like, why didn't they do this in the books?
Right, besides the disc, yeah.
Oh yeah, of
Um,
course, the disc.
But yeah, this is that classic. We see this with Jake and Tom in the books, and
Mhm.
maybe sometimes with Chapman and others, where it's like, one person knows that they're evil, but they can't say it, and they're kind of like doing this little dance,
Mhm.
and that's what you get in this scene, which is very fun. Of course, it's not as I feel like usually in those types of scenes, it's two people that both know each other's secrets, but in this case, it's just one person knows the other
Yeah.
guys. But he gets some good digs in on Victor Trent that I really enjoyed. Namely, they serve some escargot. And that's where I believe this two-tined fork you're referring to is like a special snail fork. I
Probably,
think
yeah.
yeah. You ever eat escargot?
Nope, never had it.
I have had it one time. You want to know where I ate it?
Was it in France?
Close. Almost.
Where was it?
Sort of a version of France. Why, it was in the Beast's Castle at the Be Our Guest restaurant in Walt Disney World, Orlando, Florida.
Holy shit. Wow.
That's right.
I mean, that's France.
It was France.
Yeah.
It wasn't Epcot, France.
Yeah. It's like when you're in an embassy, you're on foreign soil type of thing. If you're in the Beast's Castle, you're in France.
And that's the one place where I was like, if I'm ever going to eat snails, this is the place to do it.
Was it good?
It wasn't bad. Like it tasted good, but it wasn't like, oh boy, I'm all about snails now. I think there's also there's still like a mental barrier that's a little bit like, I kind of have to, like, they have to be disguised a little. If I think too much about the fact that I'm eating snails, I will get grossed out. But
I see, yeah. Because you don't want to eat bugs. Do you have the problem with, like, crabs, too? Like, it's too much like a bug.
I am fine with, honestly, I'm not a big shellfish person. I mean, partially because I was raised Jewish and we sort of kept kosher growing up. But I have never, like, I'll do, like, lobster and crab, like, in a roll or a soup any day. I'm not so much about, like, just biting into a big fucking crab. That's kind of fucked up. I don't like that.
Sucking the meat out of the shell type of thing.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not about that. Even shrimp, I'll do like a fried shrimp, but I don't like when I can tell that I can make out the full body of the creature I'm eating. That disturbs me.
I mean, it's not that interesting. That's to be expected. I know you well enough.
I think that's should be a common feeling. Also, shrimp are bugs. Let's face it. They are fucking bugs, so I don't like that.
I mean, that's not incorrect, but, you know, I'd also eat bugs, so I'll eat the bugs.
I know. Well, we're going to get to eating bugs later in this episode.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the good thing about this escargot scene is that...
this episode's going to be 3 hours long.
I know. It's really bad. We don't have time for this. Fucking Victor Trent and Tom both don't want to eat it because it reminds them of Yerks. And so Jake gets to go, I'll eat the escargot. And then he slowly savors the escargot while Victor Trent in the background is just like, ooh. And there's this goddamn like triumphant music playing. Like the whatever band is playing in this restaurant is like, da 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 da. I don't even know on the horns. It's so fucking good.
It's really funny. There's also this moment where Jake hesitates before he shakes Victor Trent's hand. Like, he's just throwing all this shade at both Victor Trent and Tom when Tom's like, I thought you were coming to the sharing meeting with me, Jake. And Jake's like, no, I'm going to help Dad out. Get fucked, my brother.
Yeah, it's good. Now, if I'm being honest, the Visser 3 in the book would have jumped at the chance to eat a Yerk because Visser 3 was nothing if not a cannibal. He did love eating his underlings, but I still fucking love this scene.
Well, I forget, did this come up in Visser? There was some mention somewhere about like Yerks being weird about escargot, wasn't there?
Was there? I don't remember that.
I swear it came up somewhere, or at least it was like, it might have just been one, like Visser 1 maybe said like, oh, when I first got here, I was like, what are those? That looks like us. Or there's some allusion to it. I remember, but
interesting. I don't remember this. That's fun though.
I don't know if they took it. They probably didn't take it from that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Jake mogging on Visser is good.
It's really funny. It's really good. All the acting in this scene is good. It's good.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we leave the restaurant, or should we
Yeah,
spend
we got
another
that
30
part out of
minutes
the
on
way.
it?
Listen, that's the most important part. That's what we needed to get through here.
We'll be
All
fine.
right.
I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So what?
4 hours,
There's
maybe.
Jake's working at the clinic now. He's at the clinic and he's he's using chat online to IM the other Animorphs while he works.
This messaging system is fucking insane. Because it's, you'd think you'd have a chat window where you can see a log. It's the same thing as when he was sending the emails in that other episode.
Yeah, they just don't know how computers look.
He only writes his own message, and then that, like, the other message they sent appears in this terrible font, just like one message at a time, like they're sending telegraphs or something, or telegrams. I don't know what the fuck. It's very, very weird.
Fucking chat on dash line, right? Not like what status receiving message. Like, what the fuck is it takes? What is this?
It's very good. Meanwhile, the other Animorphs are all at the cyber cafe or whatever we were calling this.
Yeah, this, I guess it was Siberia, right?
Right, Siberia. That's where they are. They're all here. They're all back.
Mhm.
Well, I guess Tobias is not in this scene, is he?
Yeah.
But
Marco without his orange jacket and Cassie with her hair down. So
hair
kind of an odd look
down.
for them.
That's right. Hair down alert. Although Marco still looking good.
Yeah, but I miss the jacket. I really do think that he wears that jacket,
Mm-hmm. I mean, he wears everything. Meanwhile, Axe is apparently the cyber cafe serves food, I guess.
I mean, it's a cafe, I guess, right?
Yeah, right. They took that real literally. And they serve and it's honestly really funny. I could watch like a version of this scene on a loop for an hour. Marco's just like, "Here, Axe, this is a hot dog," and then he comes back a minute later. "Hey, Axe, this is a hamburger." He's just bringing him different foods.
I mean, that I do really like that. There should have been, honestly, rule of threes. There should have been a third food.
Yeah. It feels like this is like building up to some kind of a punchline. but it's just funny to imagine Marco just paying for give him some of this. He just likes to see how this happens,
Yeah. I mean, there is like an ongoing joke where Marco just answers every question Axe has with like, "Not really," which it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I thought that was funny enough.
Yeah. So this is a hamburger. It's made of ham? Not really.
Right. And the hot dog is made out of dog? Not really. Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Not really.
Right.
Yeah.
It did feel like maybe the hamburger part comes later, and maybe that's made it too much because that wasn't as funny as is it good?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the issue, but whatever. It's fine. I mean, sometimes Marco swings and he misses, he goes for it. It's fine. It's funny.
Yeah.
He didn't miss for me.
We get a Jason John McCall.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, fuck that.
What the actual fuck? They're talking. Are they saying celebrities might be at the opening of the clinic or something?
That might be it. I do not remember the context. That's got to be it, right? Though, or like, because Jake's like, there's an important guest coming. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, and then Cassie and Rachel are like, "Teehee, maybe it's Jason John McCall." Now, let's just clarify for listeners who maybe don't remember. You're not being Mandela affected. Mm-hmm. In the books, it is Jeremy Jason McCall.
Yes.
What? This changed? There is no reason for this change.
Yeah. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they tried to remember what they called him.
Like she just couldn't. She like didn't remember the line, so they're like, just say any 3 names. It doesn't fucking matter.
Fuck yeah, we're not gonna.
We're not doing that book, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Which is also like, why even? Clearly, someone on staff had knowledge of this series. Otherwise, this name wouldn't be in there. But then it's like, but why? Why use it here unless you're establishing a world and you're gonna do that episode? And maybe they will. We don't know. Or
I
maybe.
believe that is next episode. Or
Oh
rather
wow.
I mean, I don't know, right? Because the titles
Right.
could be anything, but
Right. But still, it's like, yeah. Why change it? Why is it there? Why in this episode does it get a mention? I don't know.
yeah. I
Like no
don't
one's
know.
gonna notice it besides the really hardcore Animorphs fans.
Yeah, and then they're going to be upset because it's not right.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's so weird. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I go back to Marco and in fact, here's something I'll say kind of about maybe it's too early to say this, but I'll say it anyway. Kind of for both of these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've gotten to a point where there have been enough episodes of this show. And this is a phenomenon I think we witnessed in the books as well, where even if some of the character relationships and personalities haven't actually been developed or fleshed out very well, enough time has passed and I have enough kind of foundation from reading the books that I'm sort of, in this episode at least in particular, I sort of feel like everyone like in this scene feels kind of right. And I'm not as much thinking like I feel like I was in earlier episodes more. Why is that character doing that? Is that really right? They shouldn't be talking like that. And there's enough of a fuzzy picture in place for me to kind of be like, yeah, this feels somewhat okay. Now, most of that is centered around the Marco and Axe stuff, which I just think is very funny. And I think they've definitely, like, Axe to me is nailed down. I think they've done a great job with him. And that's the kind of the anchor of this scene. And I don't know, I feel like that character stuff is starting to gel a little bit for me. Like I said, not necessarily because they actually put the work in, but I think it's like how in the books we would say like, oh yeah, Tobias and Axe are Shorm. But if you actually look through the books, there's like 3 moments where they're Shorm. And that's kind of how I'm starting to feel on this show. It's like, oh, they're all friends. It's like, are they? Yeah, I don't know. I've just sort of, my brain has like filled in the gaps enough where I can
I mean, in
believe
terms
it.
of they're all friends, I do agree. Like, this does feel like a coherent group. I do still have some issues, not in this scene, but throughout with some of, like, Rachel's line deliveries. It feels off to me. It feels artificial. And, like, when I look at it, I still see the issue of, like, yeah, but, like, what do Rachel and Cassie, like, do? And there's a couple bits, but,
I think,
mean, they do
I
at
think
least
they
feel like
are-
part of the group.
Yeah, I think both of them, especially Cassie, do get better stuff in these episodes than they have gotten before.
That's true. That's true. Like well, like I said, they do get a couple of moments, which just automatically puts it ahead of everything else.
Yes. Even any attempt at a moment is
Yeah.
better than not being in the episode.
Yeah. Unlike Tobias, who is basically not present. Like, he has scenes, but they doesn't matter fucking at all.
Yeah, I do not understand why they haven't let him morph into a human yet again. I guess they just were too afraid to do Elamists. They're like, we need to wait for that because it's too fucking weird. But that, you really like lose out on that actor just not being around.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, because it does seem like part of the problem is just that they don't know, because you can do a lot of Tobias development with Tobias as a bird if you know how to do it. Like, if you have an idea in your head of how you're going to do it. But it does seem like a big part of the problem is that, like, when they have animals on screen, it's just like, animal on screen, okay, cool, move on. Like, every time they morph, that's kind of what it's like. And there's so many scenes where they're just humans. So it seems like part of the issue is they don't know how to integrate Tobias when he's a bird. Which, the solution to that is do the part of the books where he stops being a bird.
Right. And I think you get, like with Axe, you as much as we like him being an Andalite, you get a certain chemistry between real actors looking at each other that you don't get from a puppet or a bird.
Yeah. Axe spends a lot more time as a human in these, and that is to the benefit of the character.
Right. Same with Victor Trent.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I guess it does kind of one positive side effect of that is that Tobias does feel more like an outsider in this group, and that is sort of his role.
Mhm.
So maybe if they do something with that at some point,
Yeah.
we don't, maybe they probably won't, but that's something.
Yeah, give him a
You
point
could
of
take it.
contact though.
Yeah,
Expand on the relationship with Rachel or the friendship with Axe, at least one of those two, so that he has
yeah.
cuz like right now he's just kind of like, "Oh yeah, there's a bird guy." Like he feels like an outsider to such a degree that I don't care about him, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a silver lining. It's a small one. That's
Mhm.
just but you can find it in there if you want to.
Yeah. No, I mean
Um.
you make a point here, so.
Oh, thanks. I make a lot
You're
of them. They're most of
you're
them are
welcome.
bad. Axe dips his burger in his Coke. It looks like.
Mhm. And listen, I like when he dips the burger in the Coke, but I
Just the
gotta
patty, to be clear. Just the
yeah,
patty.
just the patty. But I gotta say, I'm looking at him eat it afterwards. That's a three
Oh
biter,
God.
right? It's a three biter. And Axe is a one bite man, I think. You know?
He's still getting used to the mouth. He's not sure how to
Okay.
work it yet.
He's not sure yet. Yeah.
All right. So they also start talking about Governor Blair now.
Yes, we learn about Governor Blair,
Now
who
you tell me, was
yeah.
he in the book? Because I don't remember.
So the governor plotline is the same. I don't remember if his name was Governor Blair, but I do think it was a man and not a woman, like it was at the end of the series.
Mm,
Now, yeah, but this basic plot is the same, that the governor is going to come into the clinic for some kind of treatment, and the Yerk plan is to infest this guy while he's there. And also, he's making a presidential run next year,
mm.
so they're taking a shot at the presidency. So that's all the same.
Got it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and I don't know if the governor has a name in the book. I think they just maybe call him the governor.
Yeah, that might be right, because I don't recall any name for him, but
Yeah, I don't see any. I mean, maybe he doesn't even show up in the book because, like,
yeah, he might not
he
be
doesn't
there.
really matter in
Yeah.
like as a character.
Yeah, they might just reference him. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, he is also doing a presidential thing in the book. So
Mhm.
that's consistent. Um, they're setting up for this. I don't really understand what this clinic is and why anyone cares that it's being opened, to be honest.
Yeah, because like it seems like, oh, maybe it's we're gonna provide treatments to like underprivileged kids or some shit or whatever. But like then it's all just like, oh, massages and hydrotherapy. So like what? Like who cares? What is this?
It's confusing. Like I understand why the Yerks are
Right.
the secret part of it, but yeah, I don't understand the surface level whatever.
Yeah, like I don't remember. I feel like in the books they either said what the governor was going in for, or they were like, it's a health concern and so it's top secret because they don't want to talk to the press about it because, if the newspapers get a hold of it. But it was like a real health concern. Whereas here they're like, yeah, Victor Trent promised me a treatment at this facility.
Right.
What kind of
Right.
treatment for what? I don't fucking know. Who cares? Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also in the book you had the detail of like the Yerks taking over a hospital,
Yes.
which was
Yeah.
much creepier and cooler. But
Yes. Now the payoff for both of these is going to end up being pretty similar in that they break in one time and then the Yerks are like, I guess we're not taking over that hospital anymore. Bye. And it doesn't really make sense because that's not really what it's about. It's about what happens later. And here it's like, oh, we scared off the governor. So, okay, cool. That plot's over. I
yeah,
don't know.
here's the thing. The setup of the part 1 of this could be anything.
Yeah.
They didn't have to stick to the book. There are a billion different ways you could get a Yerk in Jake's head.
Hmm.
So it's kind of interesting that they were like, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, why invent something new if you have the book? But I don't know. They could have like done anything. It really does not matter. None of this shit matters.
Yeah. No, that is something going through this first episode. Like, I was very aware of is just like, okay, this first half is just to set up that Jake is going to get captured by a Yerk, because that's where it ends, is that he's infested. And, they did change a lot of details, right? Like this basic plot's the same, but, like it's not Jake's dad's clinic. What about the part where they turn into flies? What about the part where Visser 3 does like a pep rally and they have to infiltrate as roaches? What about all the, no, 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 no. None of that stuff happens. And it's just, I don't know. Like, clearly they knew that none of it mattered because they changed around all the details, but they didn't have like a new, I don't know, original plot line.
Yeah, right. I will say, as someone who did not really remember, as I said, the first half of this book, the episode is paced pretty well. Felt good to me. I didn't feel like some of these can be, that was really rushed, or they like cut out a lot of details from the book or something. It just kind of felt like, yeah, this all pretty much makes sense the way they're pacing it and the scenes that are occurring in the order they're occurring in.
Yeah, I
sounds
didn't
like
mind
a
it.
pretty faint praise, but
Yeah, no, I mean, like, just as a general plot line, it worked fine. Like, I would definitely call this part above average for the series for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. So
Now, should we get back to the barn and the next fun development here?
oh yeah, we can get back to the barn here.
when they need they need to figure out a plan to get into the clinic.
Yes. Axes and Andalite in this first shot. I remember that because apparently I wrote for my first note for this scene, axe backshot, which I'm not proud of myself for, but I did it.
Yeah. Well, you are proud enough to say it out loud on a recorded show. So that's something.
Yeah, that's something. Listen, I'm just going to air all my dirty laundry this episode, so get ready for it.
Right. There's more. Trust me, folks. There's more you don't know. Then, so Marco, I don't even know why he takes it, whose idea it is. He takes out his video card.
Yeah. So let's just start off by saying, before, when Jake sees all this suspicious involvement going on, you might think this is a perfect chance to turn into a bug and find out if there's anything actually weird going on, and then you can bring it to the Animorphs. But he doesn't do that. They come back to the barn. And, okay, we've got to infiltrate this place. How are we going to do that? Should we turn into bugs? Well, actually, Axe has an idea, right? Axe is like, Marco, give me your Blockbuster card, his video card.
His video card, his NVIDIA video card.
Yes, and, okay, what the fuck is this?
So this is like, okay, yeah. So, well, we should explain for Zoomers, video store, you would like rent videos. And I guess this is like a membership card for the video store, okay?
Right, this is like
magnetic
your photo.
strip.
I
Yeah.
don't think, did they actually put magnetic strips on these things?
I think some places probably did.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you probably, maybe you got like, membership rewards or like maybe they used it to say they knew if you had late fees or something. That could have happened.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I mean, libraries did it. They got fucking books.
That's true.
So then.
Well, we all know books are more advanced than. Anyway.
That's true. So then Axe goes, oh, here's what I can do. Rub your video card on my fur.
Right. And why would you do that?
Well, so Marco does. He rubs it on Axe's chest back and forth a few times. And Axe explains, well, now that card should be able to get past any human encryption.
Well, you missed the double, because he does two things. First, you rub it on the fur to demagnetize it.
Oh, that's what it is.
And then he runs his finger across the magnetic strip.
That's what it is.
Re-encode it or something. What the fuck?
It's as if he's like a chi, as if he's a fucking robot with computer hacking powers built into his body.
I don't know. Like, what the
This
fuck?
isn't even by the logic of the show. Like, there's no possible explanation for this. It's insanity. And you also don't like later on. Doesn't it not even work? What's happening?
Uh-oh.
Why'd you say uh-oh? Can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Something weird is happening. I don't understand.
Okay. Are you still recording?
Yes, I'm still recording.
Okay.
It seems to be fine now. It just like cut out and came back in.
Okay, so you want to just keep going?
Sure. Yeah, you can just cut this part out, I guess.
Okay,
It
if it
seems
happens
fine.
again, you'll let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It literally just dropped out for no reason, and now it's back to being fine. I don't know.
All right. It's fine. I'll just pick it up from the axe card robot.
Yeah, you were in the middle of saying something.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't affect the episode really in any way. And it's very strange because if you're going to introduce something that like this about an alien race, it seems like it should have been introduced earlier and it should be significant and it should be something I care about the abilities of this species. But it's just treated like, he's a magic wizard guy. He can do that if we want him to. We just wrote it. It's a really cheap, dumb plot device.
Yeah, and it's so... I don't understand why it's there, because...
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, like I said, like, you would think, oh, maybe they're going to turn into bugs. Nope, they're not going to do... Even though they could do that, they're going to use this card. Except, oh, wait, then Cassie's got... Okay, I've got bugs. Right? Like,
Yeah,
we're all going to morph
both.
these bugs.
And do they even use the card? Like, doesn't it not work later?
Yeah, they tried using the card and it doesn't work.
So what the fuck's the point of this?
Yeah, like it's like they want to let you know that Axe is technologically advanced, but they don't understand that he would need to use a computer. So, like, what does it mean to be technologically advanced? Well, his fur can demagnetize.
It's fucking crazy. It's so weird. It did, though, remind me when he tells Marco to rub it against his fur. It did make me think of, rub it all in my hair. Mm-hmm. That's from Kung Pao Enter the Fist. It's a scene from... She tells him to rub a bunch of... It reminded me. If people know Kung Pao Enter the Fist,
right.
You get it.
Yeah, you get it. You know what? I'm just going to air it all out here. I think I might have been having issues during this scene because I also have a note that says, rub it across my fur. Now give it to me.
What the fuck? Oh, because he says that.
Because he says that, yeah. I don't know.
Hey, you're just being thorough in your note taking.
Right. I'm just being thorough.
So then they touch
crazy.
the bugs.
Yeah, they touch the bugs. Yeah. That's sure what happens.
It's like eating the bugs, but they touch the bugs.
Right. And then they go to infiltrate the clinic. I have a thing, 4 roaches on a ledge. Every time they show the roaches, like they're just kind of sitting next to each other, and it doesn't look great.
I think it's funny. I feel like those are definitely rubber roaches in that shot where they're like hanging out up top.
And even in the ones where they move, it really feels like they dump 4 roaches on the floor next to each other and then like get the shot real fast before they realize they can move, right? Like they're kind of stunned from being dropped. Like it never feels like they're skittering around. They're so clumped.
Yeah, they're clumped. They're clumped as hell. There's Marco says, look what IKEA did for this place.
Oh yeah. Couldn't get McDonald's. Could get IKEA.
Well, I bet you could say McDonald's. It's the showing of McDonald's that's probably trickier.
Yeah, and I guess this is, maybe Marco's complimenting IKEA here, so they're not too worried about it. And then
Yeah,
McDonald's
he loves IKEA.
Like, don't make me think it's I don't want people thinking McDonald's is a yerk pool.
Right. Imagine if Axe got his hands on some Swedish meatballs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm imagining.
And then they also have another, I noted another Scooby-Doo peeking from behind the door shot. Where like 2 or 3 of the
Classic.
Animorphs are all behind a door. By the way, I'm confident now at this point. I still didn't go back and look. They have never said the word Animorphs on this show.
Okay.
Because if they had said it before, they would say it again. And they never say it. That's just what I think. They do not ever say it. He says morph in this episode. That's the closest they get. But they never say Animorph.
I guess that's fair. I'll go with that.
Like, otherwise,
Maybe I'll
every
check. I don't know.
episode, they'd be like, Animorphs, time to meet. Like, why wouldn't they be saying it? They've never said it.
I don't think in the books, they always say, like, the other Animorphs in the opening exposition, and then they don't really say it outside of that, so I don't know.
They say it sometimes. Like, once in a while, they'll be like, oh boy, the Animorphs, here we go again. Or something.
Right, Marco's famous catchphrase.
Yeah.
Rachel stays behind on the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they're all...
She's
I don't
the
know what to
computer
make
person.
of this. Right, like, they're sneaking around, and Rachel's like, okay, you guys go sneak around. I'm going to stay behind on the computer and I guess hack into the Yerk files and figure out what this place is and discover there's a Yerk pool in the hidden room. It's a strange choice for, like, what character moment should we give Rachel here? I don't know.
Well,
it doesn't...
it should be Axe. Why isn't it Axe?
Yeah, Axe isn't here.
And neither is Tobias, with no explanation. Even though he wasn't he in the barn with them just now? Or was he not there either?
I don't think he was. No, he must have been, right? Or maybe
I
that's
don't
a
know, maybe he
later scene
wasn't.
where he's in the barn with them.
Yeah, maybe I don't think he's shown up yet, actually.
Yeah, it's strange. Or even Marco, who's supposed to be better with computers. It's odd because, like, Rachel, if I'm giving her a character moment, I don't want it to be I sit behind and at the computer. I want it to be like, no, I'm going to go out and do something. It's
Right.
odd to me.
You're saying it's unrealistic that a woman would be good at using computers.
Right. Yeah. No, I wouldn't
I
do
get
Cassie
that.
either for that reason.
Right, I get that.
Yeah.
that.
No. It's just an odd choice because, like, it does I feel like every time you have Cassie or Rachel do something, I'm immediately grabbing onto it as like, oh, is this their character? Is this the character that they're giving her in the show now? Because she did something. And so immediately I see this and I'm like, okay, so is, like, Rachel, is this how she's supposed to be? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, this whole sequence is weird. It's there are so many intense shots of Rachel on the computer watching security camera footage that with, like, no dialogue and just these long shots with some music of her just maybe she'll type something and then she stares into the screen for a minute and it feels kind of awkward. And then there's another security guard who's watching her on a camera that's in the office and like, someone's not supposed to be in there. I gotta get up there.
Yeah.
Boy, I sure hope there's no storage on these security cameras. Like, they didn't invent SD cards yet because they don't seem to care that they're all kids on camera right now.
Yeah. Well, Rachel's face isn't visible in the single shot that he looks at, right? Even though clearly you would have seen them when they came in the room.
And she doesn't seem to even notice there's a camera there. It's not like she's aware of it.
Yeah.
I guess she is because she morphs to it. But no, because she hears them coming.
Yeah, she morphs because she hears them coming. I don't know. I don't know.
It's pretty dumb. It's also like, how is she... Whose office is this? How does she know how to find what camera to know what the information is that she needs? Like, it's just so much because the script said so is why a lot of this stuff works.
Yeah. How come the key card doesn't work to get into the door? Because the Yerks can program it, like, encrypt the code on that beyond Axis capabilities, but Rachel can just open the files on the computer.
Well, the files in the computer were all human handled, and the Yerks
they just left those for
something.
Jake's dad to find. They didn't give a shit. Fuck.
That's
cares?
right.
As long as he can't go in the room. Yeah.
Here's a question that maybe is the same for the book too, and maybe I already brought it up or they explained it better.
Mhm.
But I also don't. Oh yeah, well in the book it's because he's like he needs like an operation, he needs surgery or something. The governor, and that's like they're like, oh, this is our opportunity to infect him, right?
Yeah.
But here they have like a whole pool set up and all this stuff, and I'm like, we already established you could just take a thermos out and like stick a yerk in their ear in like 30 seconds. Why do you need this whole building, this whole
Yeah.
pool? Why not just like, I feel like there's easier ways to get it done. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't because it does kind of make sense that like, oh, there's a whole security team around him, so we need a way to like get him away from his security, which kind of makes sense if he's like going under in surgery or whatever. But yeah, like is the idea that they're going to walk him into the room and his head of security is going to be standing right there and they're going to be like, put your head under the water for the hydrotherapy. And then he'll come up and be yerked and the head of security will be none the wiser. Because it is kind of odd also that he has a head of security and Victor Trent's just like, oh, maybe we'll show you what's so great about this afterwards. As if to imply that they didn't even bother to get this guy yet. Like, why didn't they get this guy? Why not get
Yeah.
this guy?
I mean, this is something I know I brought up multiple times in the book series of like, just wait till they go to the bathroom in the restaurant and get them. Like, there's so many easy ways, and they seem to always take the elaborate James Bond villain route. It's
Yeah.
just unnecessary.
I mean, hell, at least when they were trying to get the president in the David trilogy, they did, in fact, infest some Secret Service guy or whatever,
Yeah.
or Visser 3 turned into him or something. The point
Watching
being,
this made me realize about how similar these two plots are, by the way. Like that, it felt very much like the David trilogy, which I did remember.
Yeah.
Unlike this book.
well, that's because in this book, nobody who cares, right? And the David trilogy was actually fleshed out.
Yeah. Whatever. They do turn into roaches, though.
Yes, they do turn into roaches because Access card didn't work. What will we do now? I do like it's fucking. They're like, oh no, it doesn't work because First of all, they're like, this will crack any human code. Oh no, it's not a human code. Well then, why didn't you see that coming? And then fucking like Cassie's like, oh no, and Marco's like pacing around. Whatever will we do? What could the Animorphs possibly do to break in here? Could they maybe morph for the first fucking time? Maybe.
It is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, they turn into cockroaches.
Roach vision is purple. Just if you're keeping track of what color all animals' visions are, like lizards are green, flies are red, maybe, or something.
Upside down, I think.
Yeah, maybe flies were green too. I don't know, but roaches are purple.
Yes, roaches are purple. Some nurse chases them with bug spray. She's got a good witchy voice. Like she comes in like, open one day and already we have roaches. I kind of like her delivery.
And that's kind of fun. That's a
Yeah.
thing that you got a lot in the books from when there were bugs and trying not to get stepped on and stuff. And that's
Yeah, and that sort of happened in this one, except I think it was like in this one they were at a meeting and Visser 3 shot some guy with a gun for saying bugs weren't a big deal and killed him.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but
Pretty
you
good.
know, that's fun. I mean, in the books we would have had Marco be like, "Raid's here, raid!" But
Yeah.
only so far you can go.
Here's a thought I also had around this point in the episode, and maybe I'm wrong on this. Hard for me to say, but I feel like this it would be so boring for kids to watch. I don't think this episode is like fun as a kids show.
Mhm.
It's mostly like adults in suits trying to break into doors and looking at. I mean, I guess they're kids, and you're like, those are kids like me, and they do turn into roaches. But I mean, turning into a roach isn't even that fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm underestimating what kids think is fun. But this just seems like it's not like a super exciting, adventurous episode.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking this whole time it was like this is, and I think I said it before, like this is fine, right? Like for this show, it's above average because I'm like enjoying,
I actually
their
like
characters,
it.
they're doing things,
Yeah.
it's fun, but like, yeah, no, I mean, it's not. I don't know, it's not. It feels like there's not that much there.
Well,
Not necessarily in a bad way, but like,
and didn't we
yeah,
say the same exact thing about this part of the book too? I mean,
yeah, we
it's-
did say that.
So it's
I
like,
think you even said about this part of the book, like, boy, they're doing is morphing into roaches and flies, and how boring.
yeah, probably be good to go back and listen and just see how much of this is me repeating myself. But, and they do them in the vent, and they become human and crash through. I guess that's how it happens in the book too. Is that
No,
right?
in the book there's a fight. In the book there's like a
Oh.
whole ass fight. They like kill some Hork-Bajir. Jake gets like shot. That he like
Whoa.
falls into the Yerk pool because his head gets grazed with a bullet.
Whoa.
In this one they have to morph back in the ceiling vents and they fall directly into the pool.
Maybe I'm mixing it up because isn't there maybe another book where they're like ticks or mites or something where the air vents are an issue and they
Also
are
the
gonna get,
David
like-
trilogy, yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck? Why is this all the David trilogy?
That one was just better, so they just used all that.
I guess. But I mean, this part's maybe exciting. Maybe kids are excited now because their favorite character, the leader Jake, is in peril.
Yeah, he falls through. They fall. There's a mustache controller here. They fall on him. I kind of liked that. I like
What-
this mustache controller.
Okay.
He looks fun. Visser 3 is like trying to bang down the door.
They try for a long time.
Yeah,
too.
that honestly should have been cut. We didn't need.
I
all that.
mean, maybe this is why the magnetic strip is in there because they just did not have enough material for this episode.
Yeah, I mean that could be right because we did not need as much
We're
time on
almost
that
done.
as we had. We
Yeah,
are almost done. I feel like this is not the first time that we've padded an episode with Visser 3 banging down a door in the middle of a climactic scene. In fact, didn't we do that last time?
Yeah, I think that's last week's episode.
Yeah.
It's even funnier here though because it's so long and he's like break it down and all these guys just start hitting it with their hands.
Yeah, because like there's humans there. They can't use their Dracon flashlights.
Right. Yeah, you couldn't
Fucking-
just say like it's a construction laser. I don't know. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, since there's like, you have 5 or 6 controllers, you couldn't just like restrain the 3 Secret Service guys for 10 minutes and, or just kill them and then put Yerks in the gut. Like, I don't know.
why didn't they infest? I don't know. Whatever. That we could have this scene here. We get the world famous, if you've looked for Animorphs gifs before, there's a gif that always pops up of Rachel turning into a lion, and so this is where we get that from.
And this is the most, or at least the biggest attempt I've seen at Rachel kind of looking angry and fierce.
Yes. Yeah, like I like that Rachel takes point here. Like, oh shit, they're breaking in. Everyone's trying to rush Jake out, and Rachel's like, I'm gonna hold him off. This works.
Yeah, it feels like you get a glimpse of her being like, I'm gonna take charge. They're pissing me off, and also they hurt Jake. So this is like unleashing my dark side of the Force in me.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's good. We did gloss over. I think there's a very important part when Jake is lying on the floor. They're all around him like, Jake, are you okay? Are you okay? Rachel leans in to, I guess, like listen to his heartbeat or something to make sure he's alive. But it really looks like she's leaning in to kiss him.
Yeah, she's like, he's not breathing. I better do CPR.
It really, and like her mouth is open as she leans right up to his face. And then, like at the last second, she swerves down to his chest. Then she like lingers over his chin for a second. I'm like, oh boy, this is clearly she was so ready for this. She's like, he needs mouth to mouth. He needs it, guys. I'll do it.
Yeah,
Anyway.
there's a bit where Rachel like goes in for a hug later in this episode
Yes.
where she also kind of
Yes.
feels like, listen, they knew they were supposed to do the Jake and Rachel ship, but Jake and Marco was just too powerful, so they were like, Rachel, you gotta step it up this episode.
It really feels like any opportunity she can take to touch Jake, she takes in this episode. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later.
We'll never stop.
We'll never stop. But it turns out this lion just wants a hug.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Okay, yes, it's kind of silly that the lion is just kind of hugging a guy.
It breaks through the door and it's just like hugging a guy, and then he runs away.
But you know what? They could have put a big stuffed lion on the guy. They could have had the lion jump at him and then he falls over into a pool for the third time. Like, this is the closest we've come to any kind of an animal attack, even though the lion just kind of hugs the guy and then he turns around and runs and Bongo trots up after him.
I mean, listen, you gotta still, I think, give them some credit. Like you said, this is a kid's show with a shoestring budget. They do have a real fucking lion.
Yeah. Like that is, I mean, given that fucking they couldn't have a real skunk for half those scenes or a real bird and they have a fake thing, like I would have forgiven them for being like, listen, we can't just have our random background actor have a lion like get up on his shoulders, but no, it's a real lion. So
I wonder if that was like the lion's trainer or something. Like, how do you legally like get those waivers signed, you know?
Yeah,
I'm sure
very
the lion
possible.
Is tame, but you know,
Bongo's a good boy.
Bongo's a good boy. Or a girl? I don't know. Oh, no, it's a boy. It's a main. Duh.
Oh, yeah, that's true. God, I was going to be like, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I didn't get to that point. I would sound stupid. Cut this part out.
Wow. Yeah, good work on that one. Also, then one of the controllers comes over. She reaches her bare hands into what I think is a boiling hot pool of Yerk pool. Am I misreading the scene? She pulls out a Yerk and she's like, "Oh, the Yerk is dead." I'm like, yeah, you just like dipped your hand into a scalding hot Yerk water, right? Shouldn't your hand be
interesting
like
because,
melting?
Well, Marco says he's going to boil them. In the book, it's literally just a re-outfitted jacuzzi, and so he just turns it up to like max jacuzzi temperature. So it wouldn't be that bad, like in the book. But here they don't say it's a re-outfitted jacuzzi, so. Like, why does it have that setting? Maybe it's just jacuzzi water, and it's like, okay, sure. Like, maybe this is as much as, I don't know.
It must be.
Like, max temperature 130, 140. I don't know how hot jacuzzis get.
I still think you'd hesitate for a second before dipping your hand right into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe she's like, the Yerk's like, it's not my body. Who gives a shit?
You can feel it, though. I don't know.
No, it's like, I'll just turn off. I'll just not access the pain receptors during this. Is that a thing they can do?
The temperatures I gave were very high for a jacuzzi, but I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Well, anyway, they all meet outside. They're all fine. They escaped. But of course, we know Jake has been yerked.
He's been yerked. You know what? I like the freeze frame ending on Jake's smirk. We need to bring back freeze frame endings. They rule. I love them.
I agree. Yeah, it's pretty good. This feels very a movie that is on our short list for maybe a future Patreon episode. Spider-Man 3.
That's on our short list?
Yeah, I believe it was because of Venom, like a symbiote taking over.
Right.
We discussed it a long time ago.
Mhm.
But it's the same exact thing where Tobey Maguire is evil now in that movie because his hair is down and is like an emo style, and it's the same thing. Jake is evil because his hair's down now, and
Yeah.
that's no good. That's a bad kid.
Right, but see, that's the whole, here the Animorphs think it's just, oh, he got wet. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's
but he
why they
doesn't
don't.
change. He doesn't fix it. He keeps it that way.
Right. Yeah, no, because symbolically it represents the Yerk pool where he got wet, so his hair's down. That's how
Because
it all
for
ties together.
for Zoomers, people might need to know for context that in the late '90s and early 2000s, it was. I feel like it was very. I don't. Maybe it still is, but it was very common for like kids and teenagers to have gel, boys specifically, like gel in their hair, like with the front flipped up. Is that still a thing?
The Zoomers do weird shit with their hair for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm sure something like that is still a thing.
I did that for a long time when I had hair.
Wow.
When I was a kid.
That's crazy.
Like a teenager. Yeah, I would do I had a bottle of gel and I'd put a little like flip, just like Jake has.
God damn, I want to see that flip.
Yeah.
I need to see those pics.
Maybe on the Patreon we'll share them. All right, well, I think we finished part 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's part 1. We did good. We're doing good. We're going to be okay.
No, we're going to be now I'm worried about next week. Maybe we're out of things to say about the other episodes too.
No. See, here's the thing. We can see how long we've been going for, so we know to control ourselves and not, go on a 30-minute tangent.
Well, also, truthfully, these episodes, both of them don't really have that much going on in them. Like, there's the scenes that are kind of the scenes that are worth discussing are like one big chunk that's like half the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's too much going on, especially in this first half.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Part 2 has a previously on, which is 40 seconds long and does basically hit everything we talked about.
Yeah. Maybe I may play that at the start to give people a little taste.
You mean like right now? Because it wouldn't work because they had like at the start of the episode they wouldn't have heard it yet.
When we did the first part 1 and 2, the first episodes, I did play the previously on of episode 2 at the beginning to set the stage.
Oh,
because it kind of just gives you the it kind of plays like a trailer for the show because it gives you like a.
I see. Well, that's probably why we haven't gotten any emails yet.
I thought it worked
well.
It
was so bad and it didn't work, and they were like,
well, on the Patreon, I always, if we're talking about a movie, I always play audio of the trailer before we get into it.
Yeah. See, so this is the sort of thing we do when I see the time and I'm like, oh shit, we're not going to make 2 hours as we have a conversation like this.
Right.
Which is how we hit our mark.
I just think it's nice. I think it makes sense to, if you aren't watching the show, it gives you like some context in your head of kind of the tone and the sound of the show. So then when we're talking about it, you kind of have this idea of like, oh yeah, I sort of can imagine that.
I see. So for the other episodes, do you go like, it's all in your hands?
Right. No, because none of the other episodes have that. So I've only been able to do it once.
I see. Okay.
I would, if they all had previously ons, I would maybe do it every time. But they don't.
Well, that would be fun, but here we are.
Part 2.
They're all walking. Immediately, we get a Star Wars reference, which, that's pretty fun. That's something we don't get in Animorphs, the books.
Is it a good Star Wars reference,
Fuck
though?
UK, Applegate.
Fuck the UK? Applegate? Cassie says, even because they're like, oh, we shouldn't celebrate yet. And Cassie says, hey, even Luke Skywalker got a medal before the Empire struck back. This is not, no one would ever say this.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
It's strange.
It's very weird. It's not how you would make a reference to that movie. I don't like it. Tobias and Axe are not in this scene, of course. They weren't there still. They haven't joined
we're not back to Axe yet. Tobias didn't come with them. Well, we do, when we get to the barn, we see Tobias and Axe, and I did like Tobias is eating a mouse, and Axe is like, are mice tasty? And like tries to eat a dead mouse as a human, because and Tobias has to tell him no. I like that. That's a good,
Yeah.
if we had more of
The-
that.
This is a fun scene. We were lacking Tobias. We get some good Tobias here with Axe, who they also haven't probably had any scenes together yet, the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in the same shot before, I'm pretty sure.
But this is maybe their first actual dialogue together.
Hmm.
And it's good. And hey, they're Shorm. It's uncle and nephew. It's nice to see.
Yeah, sure, yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Maybe do they feel left out? Or they like, why didn't we get to go on this adventure? I don't know.
Yeah,
don't
they're
seem to
just
care.
sitting around, they're waiting for everybody to come back here.
No, they don't. They're not worried about it. And it doesn't take long, of course. Now in the book, I don't remember. How does Axe figure out that Jake is the controller? Because here, of course, it's the telltale ear scratch.
Yeah, Hax like looks at him and almost immediately is like something is off. No, in the books, Jake comes out and the first thing he does on seeing Axe is he gives this like, oh fuck you kind of sneer for like a half second, or there's just a tiny bit, and then he fixes his face and is like, hey Axe, and Axe is like, oh what the fuck was that? The Yerk just immediately tells on himself, which is good because, and I think we talked about this at the time, they get like fucking 10 feet from the clinic before they figure out that Jake is a Yerk. Whereas here, they get all the way back to the barn, and they even kind of lampshade it. Like, Jake's like, why wouldn't I just leave? And Rachel's like, well, maybe you want to bring us along too. And it's like, why would that, he knows who you are. What's he gonna do? Like, why doesn't he just say, man, yeah, I'm beat after all that. Let's all head home and then we'll debrief at the barn tomorrow.
Right.
Like, I don't think that really works. At least in the book, it's kind of lame to have them immediately figure it out, but like how else does it work and make sense?
I mean, you are right.
Mhm.
I'm kind of okay with it. It is sort of a cheat, but you could be like, maybe he is like, I'm not just going to tell him the location. I'm going to really go back and like capture them all or something. But yeah, if you really think about it, it does. If this Yerk was really intelligent at all, maybe he's just so overconfident. He's just like, I don't know, this is fun. I'm just going to chill and see how this goes for a minute or something.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't mind that idea that he's just gonna chill. But yeah, I don't know. It is a little odd. Yes, Axe in this one, rather than figuring it out because, Jake is, lets the facade drop, Jake's Yerk does, Temrash 114. In this one, yeah, Jake does the fucking ear thing.
Jake does.
Or Jake does the fucking ear thing, yeah, and Axe also, even before he does that, is looking at him kind of weird. There's a bit earlier on, too, in last episode, before he demagnetized the card, where he says, like, I sense Yerk involvement, which could just be a turn of phrase, but combine it with this, and it almost feels like, combine it with this, and combine it with his card reader magic, it makes it feel like maybe he's supposed to have Yerk sensing magic, too, or something. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, they did used to say that, you could sense love and goodness from Elfangor and evil from Visser 3.
Right.
So maybe he just has, attuned senses of like, I can smell Yerk on you or something.
Yeah, I don't know. He goes into a nerd rage because he's in human form.
He does. I mean, you can't, the subtle twitch works great in a book.
Yeah.
But that's much harder to do with an actor. So
yeah.
I don't like they had to find some other way to do it.
I mean, here's the thing though. I can easily imagine Animorphs doing a scene where like Jake's, Sean Ashmore does this like nasty sneer and they go into super slow motion and put like a boom musical sting over it. And then they cut, do like a quick cut to Axe and then back to everything being normal and Jake's got a smile and he's like, hey Axe, how are ya? Or something. Yeah, I could see it. Like, that is their style.
Yeah, you're right. They could have done it. But it's fine. I mean, the ear scratch thing is dumb, but it's fine. It's just what needs to happen.
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever.
It gets you there.
Yeah. I do. It is
Yeah.
weird. Axe like charging him as a human, like yerk, and then he's like clawing at Jake's ear.
Yeah, I guess he's
not
trying
like
to pull
holding
it
him
out.
down. Yeah, like what is that?
He's trying to get that yerk.
He is trying
He's
to
gonna
get that
dig his
yerk.
finger in there and just dig it right out.
Yeah. Fucking all the other Animorphs are trying to pull him off Jake, and Tobias is also there just kind of flapping around squawking.
I really like, I think Tobias, the acting of the bird acting in this scene is really good. Like, I actually
Yeah.
really believe all of them and Tobias like flapping around right in the same spot. Like, it feels, I'm like, yeah, that's like it looks like a kid like involved in this chaos.
Yeah, I
believed
mean,
it.
I don't disagree. It is funny. Like, it's silly to think about. And I once again have a note here that says, shut up, Tobias, because he squawks a lot around this part. But, that's how you know he's there. That's his contribution.
He's like, please remember me. I'm trying. Now, this is weird because now is when we get an Axe POV
Yeah.
voiceover monologue where he says, my name is Axe. So we have another my name is. But first of all, obviously, this book is not an Axe POV. The story's not really an Axe POV.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part 2 of a 2-part episode, and part 1 had no voiceover character. So introducing one halfway through with a character that's not the main character of the episode is the weirdest choice they could have made.
And the episode is very much not Axe-centric. Like, he also does the like outro voiceover.
Yeah.
And when they did it, like, my thought was, oh shit, right, he did the intro too. Like, I wasn't thinking like, okay, and that wraps it up, because it's very much not his point of view at all.
It is strange. It is I sort of get it because, okay, Axe is the one who knows he's a Yeerk now, and he's the outsider, and maybe it makes sense for him to be the one explaining to the audience about what's going on. But in terms of like the structure of how these things work, it's weird.
Can I also just
feels
point out
off.
the editing here? This is the style of this show. When he says, my name is Eximile Escaruth Isthil, he says that at about that speed, they cut on every word. It's Eximile, cut to a close-up of his face, Escaruth, cut back, Isthil. Boom, boom. It's kind of crazy.
I like it. It's punctuated.
Yes, it's that's the word for it, yes.
That's how you know that he means it.
Yes. Yeah, we get to see an Andalite hand here. They do have an extra finger.
Oh, yes. Now, they're supposed to have 7 fingers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But he does have 6, which previously we only saw 5.
Mm-hmm.
So that now we can officially say that's a continuity error, not a choice.
Right. Yes.
So 6, and also he only the idea is they want him to shake hands with Jake to like make up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're like, so he only morphs his hand as an Andalite, which is kind of cool. I still kind of think it's cool when they morph only part of themselves.
Yeah, and they show it. That's nice. We got Rachel turning into a lion is shown. Axe's hand is shown. They are actually showing these morphs, kind of. Not the bugs, but...
Yeah, not really not the bugs. The bugs, they just duck under the camera and they're a bug.
Rachel just like falls over in slow motion and they pretend she turned into a bug.
Feels like you're falling. Remember they said that every fucking time they turn into a bug?
Did say that. You're right.
So that's cool. More props, getting a lot of props.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He shakes his hand.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. Like I mean, I guess it's fine because it lets you see the Andalite hand, and that's a fun thing. Because in the book, they did something like this where Axe like touches him, and Jake fucking flips out, just for a second, and they're like, "Oh, okay, he's a Yeerk for sure." Whereas here, Jake just kind of shakes his hand and is like, "See, I'm good," and they're like, "Nah, not good enough."
There's still more. There's a little more mystery in the show of. Well, in the book, obviously, you're in his head. So
Yeah.
and even here, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But
It would have been kind of fun to draw out the mystery a little bit longer and then have Jake do the voiceover as the reveal, where you're like, maybe he isn't a Yerk, and then be like, my name is Jake, and I've been infested, or
yeah,
something.
that'd be pretty good. Pretty
But-
good. Rachel comes up and once again, just any excuse to cop a feel of her cousin.
Oh yeah, she is all over him.
She's just like, good job, buddy. Like patting his shoulder, like just let me just rub that arm a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, Rachel.
I think this is a scene where I was kind of coming back to it, and you know the like stupid the like eyebrow raise, is that like the DreamWorks eyebrow raise meme thing? Like
Right,
every
like the smirk face that the
Yeah,
characters
like
do.
every single one of Rachel's lines, she delivers as though she's making that pose and that face. Like I
Well,
think
she
that is
invented
what it
that.
is when I was saying earlier, oh, Rachel is too girl bossy. She's not violent enough. I think that's what I actually was getting at. She talks like she's giving that face.
Yeah, that's kind of that's not really the that just happened face, but it's
Yeah, I don't know.
lives in that world.
It's not what I'm looking for exactly, but
Yeah. I can't say that's specifically a comparison I would have made, but I'm gonna allow it for you.
okay, thank you. I'm glad I'm allowed.
So here, and this, it's a little more economical the way that
Mhm.
they play out the rest of this story. In the book, there's a whole thing where they find like an abandoned house in the middle of the woods or something, right? Or it's like a drug den or something. What is it? I don't remember.
Yeah, there's some house. I think probably Tobias just knows where it is, but they tie him up in some shack deep out in the woods somewhere.
Wasn't it like a crazy lady lived there, or am I thinking of some other?
Yeah, so that
crazy
was in
lady?
Megamorphs 1. There was a crazy lady who lived in a shack in the woods, and
Oh.
that happened after this. I think I might have speculated
Oh,
that this could be
yeah.
her shack eventually, but
I think we did, but I guess it wasn't explicit. But here, again, it makes sense
Mhm.
just for the sake of simplicity. It's like they just tie him up in the barn. That's all.
yeah.
Which is, I mean, you do have to question, Cassie's parents aren't going to come out to this
Yeah, right.
barn ever. That doesn't come up.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I can't really fault them. Like, I think you lose a decent amount on the stuff that makes that gets interesting in the book, but I also do think like you often say, well, they couldn't have done that, and it's like, yeah, you're right, they couldn't have, because like part of what was interesting in the book is that like, oh, the Yerk morphs, and now he's got to worry about, okay, you can turn into a tiger, sure, but you don't really know how to find your way in these woods as a tiger. Oh, you could turn into a wolf, but remember there was that other wolf, like the real wolf pack around here that'll fuck you up. You could try to turn into a bird, but you don't have an owl, and the Animorphs are an owls, and so you kind of get this sense of like the checks and balances of nature. Like no matter what he turns into, he's fucked by something that exists in the natural world, and so he always has to turn back. And it lets the Yerk kind of ruminate on that, and it lets you kind of like open up this idea of like the relationship between the Yerks and the humans, and this idea of predator and prey, which ties nicely into Cassie. You miss out on doing that. I know this show isn't really that kind of show, and you would need a lot of animal action, which they obviously just can't do. I get it. But it is kind of sad to miss out on that.
It is strange that they don't even bring up the idea of him morphing to escape until he does it.
Yes. Yeah, like this is getting ahead of ourselves in the episode, but what happens is that at the 3-day mark, the Yerk is like, aha, I finally figured out how to access the part of your brain that morphed when I'm almost dead of Kandrona. So, like, let's do it now, and not, I'm going to hope they don't think of it, and somehow they don't, and somehow Jake doesn't think of it, because he's an
And
idiot.
none
But the rest
of
of them, of
them-
course, did.
Well, right. We kind of find out they did, but still, it just feels like it feels like a missing piece. Although, to
Yeah.
be completely honest with you, I didn't think about it until it happened later, and I was like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, aren't they supposed to like be? Shouldn't they have been worried about this from the beginning? But so I guess I was too distracted by.
Again, in the book, on the first night is when he tries it. He tries it the
Yeah.
first night, and then it does it. Of course, here it's just like, nope, he just doesn't. I don't. But to be fair, in the show, they don't morph really.
It's true, but all they needed to do to fix this, in my opinion, is have him try to morph, and then it doesn't work. Like, and
But
then
why
everything
wouldn't
else
it
can
work?
play out the same. Well, all you just have to say, oh, it takes Jake is resisting, or it's Yerk. If a Yerk isn't used to it, he hasn't quite, like they said, tapped into that part of his brain of how it works yet. Like, you just come up with a sci-fi reason, but it's the fact that he doesn't even seem to try that doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, he does say at the end, "I finally figured it out." So
Well, sure, but we didn't know until the whole time that he was doing that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're not wrong. Listen, there's a lot of mileage they get out of just. I assume they're going to do everything as humans. So when he doesn't morph, it's like, yeah, that's normal. They morph at the very end one time.
Or just one line of like, if you try to morph, we're waiting right outside to get you. Like, like something. Like, it's fucking called Animorphs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they do still keep the bit where he waits till Rachel is asleep to morph to get out. So they could just say, like, we're keeping watch, we'll get you if you.
Right.
You know.
One line. Either any of these solutions would work. Like, just one little thing fixes it. But it's fine. All right. Now, so of course, during this period when he's tied up, Axe has to pretend to be Jake.
Yes. Now, one of our criticisms in the book was that we only got to hear about Axe secondhand because we had to have Jake's perspective. And one of the fixes that you get in this episode is that we get to see it firsthand.
And so it is Sean Ashmore playing Axe, playing Jake.
Yes.
By the way, when they first introduced it with this fucking ridiculous far away shot of Marco and Jake walking on a bridge, like an industrial concrete bridge.
It is a weird, I don't know what the point of that framing is.
It looks like we're spying on them from the woods like a stalker. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Is it like, it almost feels like it's supposed to be like, oh, we have to show them from far away because it's a reveal that it's Axe playing him and you'll realize too soon if you see, except you wouldn't because he looks the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
They couldn't get a permit to shoot on the bridge, so they're like, stand in the woods, I guess. I don't know. We'll make it look artistic. Anyway, so, and there's more of this later, but Sean Ashmore doing an impression of Axe as a character, I do think this is really good. And this is the kind of thing, this is a Star Trek thing. It's a Buffy thing. You get these episodes where it's like one actor, like they swap bodies or whatever, and you have that episode in a lot of sci-fi shows. And to me, that's really a mark. To be able to pull that off, the audience needs to have some investment in the characters, and more specifically, they need to really know these characters. Like, to be able to do an impression of another character as an actor, there have to be some trademarks for you to be like, oh, that feels like that character instead of just a guy saying things. And to the show's credit, I think they have established that well enough with Axe, and I think all the stuff with Jake being Axe or Axe being Jake is funny and works really well.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that Sean Ashmore does a great job playing Axe, which, as you said, it speaks both to Axe being well-rounded as a character and Sean Ashmore, like, actually being able to do his job well. Right?
Yeah,
like, that's good. It's good. And
I don't know if
Axe
Axe's Rachel would be as funny.
Right. Yes.
Right
I
now.
don't know that that's true.
I even thought, I wondered is Sean Ashmore being dubbed? Because his voice, he sounds really close.
So in that first shot, it felt like he was. It feels like there's a difference in the voice between the. And I was also wondering that like maybe they started off by dubbing him over on the bridge to ease the transition or something, because he sounds almost exactly like him on the bridge, and then at home he sounds like Sean Ashmore.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it does. It does sound like, but it's still like a really good impression. Which
yeah, he does good.
I guess it's not that hard. I guess it's sort of so exaggerated. You kind of just do a nasally voice, but it's still a good job. So, and that's like I said. I mean, I was naming shows. Anytime this happens in a show that I like, I love it. There's something so fun about playing with the characters and actors in that way. So obviously in hindsight, yes, it's a POV book, but I didn't remember that stuff wasn't in the book. I just wasn't thinking about it. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad they decided to show that, because it's great.
Yeah, no, it works. It's good. Jake's got some good goofy faces he does the whole time. He captures that kind of axe thing well. There's a repeated my top 10 foods list joke, which I want to know Axe's top 10 foods for sure. They kind
That's
of
tough.
do the joke they skipped last time with Axe and Marco's dad, where Marco tells him to just say no to everything, and he says his name is No, where here they say like just say pass the butter to everything, which doesn't have as good of a payoff as him thinking his name is No, but it's still funny.
I loved it. I was laughing.
I did like
liked
it. I was kind of hoping Axe was just gonna like Marco's like, oh, just say pass the butter, but then it doesn't work because they pass him the butter and he just like takes a bite out of the stick of butter. But it does work. It is funny. It's delivered well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can just talk about all the Axis Jake stuff now, even though it's sort of, we cut back and forth.
Yeah. There's a good joke that I like where Marco's like, you need to be a teenage guy and not just like food. You gotta like sports and women. So, access to Tom. He's like, I'm on the sports channel and there's women lifting weights. Wanna watch? That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tom is like, no. What the fuck? Then they're all at dinner and they're eating artichoke hearts?
Yeah, they're eating artichokes. And I guess it's very strange, because this feels like the joke is that Axe is going wild eating this artichoke, but then it turns out it's okay because Jake fucking loves artichokes and actually eats them like that. Tom's like, I never get used to how you. What a weird food to do that with.
Yeah,
artichokes?
I gotta tell you, I mean, as much as I hyped myself up as a sophisticated vichyssoise man, unless it's in a salad or something mixed in, I don't think I've ever eaten an artichoke. I don't even know what the fuck. I wouldn't be able to pick one out of a lineup.
I have eaten an artichoke like one time, like ever, and it was fine. Like I had no opinions on it. But here's the weird thing. Like, okay, so I'm sure I brought it up before, but I'm a huge Stooge head. I love me some Three Stooges, and there is a Three Stooges episode where Curly hams it up eating an artichoke badly for like 5 minutes. Or he's just like ruff ruff trying, and it's I don't know, not working. And so I'm sure I saw that scene dozens of times before the like one time I ever tried an artichoke. So when I think about eating an artichoke, I always just think about Curly eating an artichoke and not being able to do it. And so I don't know why that's how it is, but that's how it is.
Now you can think about Curly and Axe eating an artichoke.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The two pillars of artichoke eating. I did pass the butter is funny. The both dinner scenes in these episodes are the peak of the Animorphs show for me so far, I think. And I really just, both of them are just about, look, we have these characters and we know who they are, against all odds. You could say, if you don't want to give the show as much credit, you could say that maybe my knowledge of the books is doing the heavy lifting. But whatever the case is, I have an understanding of these characters, and it is very fun and satisfying to see the show like be at a place where it can play around with them and have these kinds of scenes that are just silly and like use the characters' personalities to make jokes that aren't just, Marco saying a one-liner that anybody could say. It's good. It worked. Well, certainly not in the way that he would say it, but
right. No, I agree, and I do think this ties back to the discussion we had earlier. Though it works because it's Jake and Axe, and we have some sense of Jake and Marco and Axe, and
the
it
three I
might
like.
not work if it was Rachel and Jake. Although last time I said I was worried because I see good stuff with Marco, Jake, and Axe, and I just think like what a wasted opportunity. This time I wasn't thinking that. I wasn't thinking like, why didn't they do the dinner scene with Cassie to give her some. So, it worked better for me. I didn't have that problem exactly.
Yeah,
we got
they're
Rachel
all
turning
there.
into a lion. So that's
Yeah.
something. She wants to fuck Jake. That's something.
Axe also, when he's at school as Jake, gets praised for calculating the value of pi to 135 digits or something.
Digits by hand. Why doesn't Axe just know that? He's an Andalite. You would think he would just have pi memorized to 135 decimals. I had it memorized to like 20 or something in high school because I was a loser nerd and I wasn't even an Andalite. Why did he do that?
yeah, right. No, that is the question. Like, was that on the test? Was he just doodling? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why was that submitted anywhere?
Yeah, was he supposed to just be like, okay, and then multiply by pi and give me an answer to like one decimal place? But Axe was like, I'm going to give it to 135. Why did he do that?
Did
What
he
was
like?
that?
Did he do a Goodwill Hunting and he just solved the equation on the blackboard? Maybe.
Right? I don't know.
Can I also just point out? This is mainly will just be for you because our listeners won't be seeing it. But at around like 14 minutes and 20 seconds, when they're first in this classroom,
yes,
you see a few kids leaving the classroom, and there's like one extra nerd on the side. It's more around 14:30. There's one nerdy kid with glasses who's just like doing this ridiculous head bob and grinning and laughing at someone behind him as he walks out. He's
I
almost
love
like
him.
He's like head banging, like he swings his neck with such force. It's very funny.
He's doing it at some chick who I feel like she looks kind of not happy with him. Now, okay.
Yeah.
So I said earlier that there was a scene in a classroom. We could look out for Juan and Terry. Do you think any of these kids are Juan or Terry?
I mean, that kid with the glasses is kind of tall and skinny.
It could be.
That could be our Juan.
Yeah, and maybe one of these. I mean, there's also two boys walking next to each other ahead of him.
Right.
One of them is tall and one is kind of short.
Yeah. I mean, one of them is African American.
So that could be Juan.
Can I say that, or am I going to get canceled?
All right. There's no need. No need for that.
Well, yeah, I don't remember in the books. I think I just imagined them as two white guys. But I guess one of them is named Juan.
I'm imagining Juan as being Hispanic, but I don't think they tell us anything.
No, yeah. So maybe that's one. You know what? I think that is Juan and Terry. I think that's them.
Okay, that's Juan and Terry. There we go.
Yeah, that must be them. And then the kid behind them, that must be. I can't remember any of the other fucking names.
They're all duos. That's the problem.
Big Steve-O. Who's the one who bullies Tobias? What's that guy's name? It's something.
Oh God, what is his name?
It's like remember. Dippy Steve or.
Dippy
have like a
Steve.
Didn't have a fucking
Dippy Steve. Well, that's his name now. I don't know who. He's not a character from the book, so that's Dippy Steve right there.
I swear. Oh, it was like Big Woo. Was that it? Big Woo or Drake Woo?
Drake and Woo were bullies who bullied Marco at the pool.
Right.
I don't remember who was bullying Tobias though.
I think maybe they. I don't know. Maybe they also bullied Tobias. Okay, it doesn't matter. I combined Drake and Woo as one person, and I made them Dippy Steve.
Dippy Steve. Well, this guy's Dippy Steve. That's canon
Um,
now. This podcast is the only resource you need.
Are we? I think we have now out of order a little bit, but we've covered the side plot of Axe's Jake. We like it. It's there. It's
Yes, I believe that is correct. I
they
think
do a
that's all
lot
the
with it.
acts.
I mean, it
Yeah,
is half the episode.
yeah, and you know what? That is good because that is a failing of the book. Is that we spend so
Yeah.
much of the time on you know the boring part, and then we get to see cool stuff with Jake getting infested, but then there's other cool stuff we missed, and it's like, where was that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's comic relief that cuts. It's maybe a little like they do cut back and forth a lot. You might get a little whiplash from hostage Jake to silly funny Jake.
I'm
But
fine with it.
yeah, it's fine. It works for me. All right, but then we can, I guess, should talk about the actual plot of the episode now. The titular
Yeah.
capture. Part two.
Yes. So I am not a huge fan of how they're portraying Jake in the mind of the Yerk, like in his
Mhm.
mind,
The
right?
sunken place.
The sunken place, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Sure.
It's
Uh,
purple.
yeah, it's purple. It's misty. He's like it's the classic thing they do where they're zooming the camera around and cutting constantly and kind of distorting him. I don't, and I guess the Yerk is kind of talking in the background, and it really feels like to me compared to what you could get in the book, it feels very flat. It feels like, well, in the book you get dialogue scenes, so let's just do some dialogue scenes, and Jake will just it'll be weird looking. Um, and it's like, you have the opportunity here to do cool stuff like, oh, I'm going to play embarrassing memories from your life. That happened in the book. Or I'm going to show you Tom's perspective when I invited you to the sharing. And, and in Tom's head, he's like, no, please don't take Jake. We get like there's a cool opportunity to show things here as he's going through the memories, but we don't really get any of that. We just kind of get this weird scene that feels very akin to, combine animal vision with, the wonky cuts that we always do when there's some kind of heightened emotion.
Yeah, visually, I'm fine with the purple. I'm fine with the void that he's in. That looks like, I guess he was on a green screen. That must have been, and they
Mhm.
just put him in a purple void. I do not like the constant spinning around and cutting always, like every second. That
Yes.
is, it could have just been him in the chair in a room in a purple void, and that would have been fine.
Yeah. And that really feels like god, the spinning and cutting is just always too much. But there are times in this where they do this like let's just hyper cut boom 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 between everything, and that can work for certain kinds of like I want to put in this anxiety or this tension. I want to put in a heightened emotion. And here it just feels like they're like I need a heightened emotion and I only have one tool in my toolbox, which is to cut too much. Because like this is not the right way to show this particular. It doesn't work. It's wrong.
No, this should be of like a thoughtful,
Yeah,
this is
like
supposed to be like a philosophical debate.
yeah. If
kind
if
of.
anything, you should be doing the opposite. The shot should hold for too long to the point where it's kind of uncomfortable.
But they're not going to do that on a
No,
kids
no
show
way.
on
Yeah,
Nickelodeon in the late 90s. This is a
right.
very 90s,
Yeah.
type of look of this whole scene. Um, I don't hate it. I certainly, it's
Hmm.
not how I would prefer they do it. And I do think you lose much of the substance of these scenes from the book.
Yeah.
But the Yerk voice is okay.
Mhm.
The conversations they do have are fine. I think if you don't know how much better it is in the book, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to put myself in that position. Like, what if I don't know how cool I thought it was in the book, and I'm like, oh, what a letdown! You could have shown me some cool stuff here. Uh,
Mm.
you know, do I still do I say like, oh, I'm hyped up because like the commercial is teasing that, oh man, Jake's gonna get captured by a Yerk in the next episode. Oh shit, what's that? What's gonna happen? What's that gonna be like? When I watch this, do I feel kind of like, yeah, I guess that's what happened, or am I like, that was cool? I feel like I'm leaning more toward the former, but it's like it's not bad. It's just
Yeah, I don't think
it's
you're like that was cool.
yeah.
But I think you're just like, oh, interesting. Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
how it
like
happened, you know?
it's just it's such a cool premise. It's such a crazy thing. And like I think you said when we did the book, like you expected one of them to get infested by a Yerk, but maybe not as early as book 6. Like
Mhm.
it's such a crazy thing to get into, and you kind of want it to be a lot because the premise is a lot, and I don't know if it really pays that off.
Here's what I'll say. That's whatever. Who cares? It's kind of like overall thoughts, but I think
Sure.
the the Jake in his own head talking to a Yerk scenes
Hmm.
are worse than this book. I think every other part of this episode is actually an improvement over the book. And I say that not remembering most of it. So, take it with a grain of salt. But I think it's almost the opposite of the book where
Hmm.
which is but I specifically when I say are worse, what I mean are the Jake in his head scenes. I think the scenes outside of his head when they're keeping watch and he's tied up talking to Cassie and Rachel are actually pretty good. Cassie and Rachel, I think, are like competing for Jake's love in these scenes.
It is
uh,
odd, right? It does kind of feel like that.
they are both like, I'll watch him. No, I'll watch him. You go to bed. No, it's okay. I'll
Yeah,
stick
right.
around. Um, but this is the first real scene in the show of Jake and Cassie talking to each other in sort of an intimate way.
Hmm.
Kind of, I mean, it's a Yerk talking and he's trying to trick Cassie. And again, there's probably some version of this happens in the book. I don't remember
Hmm.
specifics. But he does like in some form confess his love for Cassie. And I think this is and he does it like mention, when he first met Cassie and she wasn't afraid to pick up a bug or something like that.
Hmm.
Which is, like it's maybe the bare minimum, but
Yeah.
that is characterization of Cassie. I thought this was like some of the best stuff they've had for Cassie so far.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Like I do think during that scene, like it's like, oh shit, they're actually doing like, romantic chemistry between Cassie and Jake, which just hasn't been present at all. Like there's
Mm,
tension here, and that's kind of interesting. And like that did exist in the book, and there were some cool bits of it in the book that didn't make it here, right? Like in the book there's a lot of like Cassie offering comfort to Jake, and the Yerk who is dying is like, I know it's not for me, but I'm going to accept it anyway. So that's like kind of an interesting
mm,
dynamic that didn't make it here. But this does add in, because Cassie and Jake don't have this thing going where everybody already knows they like each other, right?
mm.
Um, and they both know they like each other. Because this is really the first time you see it, there's this neat little wrinkle that's like, oh, so the first time that either of them expresses their feelings is when Jake's being controlled by a Yerk. And we do get
Yeah.
this little, that's even like actively called out. That's not just like a thing that happened to happen. At the very end of the episode, Jake's like, oh, hey, so Cassie, about those things I said. And Cassie's like, oh, so that was the Yerk talking. And it's kind of awkward. And I think that's really, I like that. That's a fun little wrinkle. It
Mhm.
reminds me of in the books when, with Peter and Ava, where he's like, where he says, oh, our relationship was great the last year of our life. And Mark is like, oh shit, was it really good when the Yerk took over? Like, I think that's an
Mm.
interesting idea, right? Like, okay, so Jake has these feelings, but she's only heard them through the Yerk manipulating her or him, so she doesn't want to acknowledge it. And I kind of hope they do something with that going forward. It's not like they
Yeah.
didn't do something with that this episode.
They basically take the classic will they won't they
Hmm.
and kind of I feel like that's a trope you'll see in a lot of rom-coms, but it'll be like, oh, I was drunk, or like, oh, we almost kissed, but then like my boyfriend showed up, and so we don't talk about that time.
Right.
They just do like the sci-fi version of that.
Yeah, there was a yerk in my head.
Yeah, which is cool. And yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does make it sense for a TV show to like let you see the full development of that relationship rather than it being a given from the
Yeah.
start.
And I don't mind that. I mean, the will they won't they, it's a trope for a reason. It's fun and it's good, and they certainly aren't setting it up with Rachel and Tobias right now. So,
Right.
you know, in the books we never really had that with Cassie and Jake. I did enjoy every time we read the series at the beginning, and we would just be like, yeah, their relationship is not in question. Obviously they're going to end up together, and I'm just like, hee hee, I know what happens at the end. But
Oh, they do canonically. If you remember from the beginning part too.
oh right, yes, your fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good. It's a good choice, you know, or rather, maybe it's a good way to capitalize on the fact that they haven't done it yet.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's, making lemonade out of lemons,
Yeah,
but hey, that's they did it, That's what they had, and they worked with what they had. Now, I am a little worried about being labeled as somewhat of a pervert
uh-oh.
after
Uh-oh.
all the remarks I've made about Rachel and Jake.
Stop right there.
Well, I'm not gonna stop.
Okay,
No one's 2 hours into the episode. No one's listening anymore.
that's right. No one's listening.
There is a scene here. I'm sorry. But there is a scene here where the Yerk convinces Cassie. He's like, "Please, Cassie, maybe I'm really Jake, and these restraints are a little tight and all this." She gets down on the floor to loosen the ropes, and I'm sorry. Maybe my mind's in the gutter, but she like kneels down on the floor by his arm and his lap, puts her head down, and the camera then zooms in close up on Jake's face, and he smiles, and you can no longer see what Cassie's doing, and then it cuts to black for commercial. I'm sorry, but it looked inappropriate. It looked like they were implying something was going on there.
I mean, yes, he does have this like evil, smug Yerk smile. Now, okay, here's the thing.
If you cut this out and like just
Here's
made a
the thing.
gif of that shot, 100% of the people would think that's what was happening. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Here's the thing. Most
Yes.
of the pervy things that you've said, I have notes about. And in fact, I had more notes about Axe and Marco getting all up in his fur. I didn't have notes about this one. So, just whatever that says about you,
Or you, I don't know. I don't know what it says. I don't know
Yeah,
what it
well,
says.
maybe I'm more into that Andalite fur.
I'm just saying, if you have access to an Animorphs show, maybe they're on YouTube or something. I don't
Yeah,
know. We of
well-
course bought all the VHS tapes.
I guess we just listen. This will just tell the viewers. People know you're into what you're into, and me, I'm over here thinking about furry frottage. It's just how it is.
I just thought it was a very suggestive looking shot. But that's me.
That's
And
you.
also on that note, I'll just quickly I forgot to say that during the scenes with Axe and Marco at dinner, I did kind of get the vibe that Jake's mom kind of wants to fuck Marco. But I
mean,
kind
who
of get that
doesn't?
vibe with everybody. Yeah, everybody kind
right.
of wants to fuck Marco.
Yeah, that's just normal, right?
Yeah.
Actually, an interesting thing here. They don't ever explicitly say that this is Tom's Yerk in this episode.
No, they don't. Well, does he mention Tom like at the end or something?
No, he says like, you're strong, Jake. You remind me of your brother. And we see a scene of Tom like huddled up, which presumably is Tom in his
right.
mind prison. But then the Yerk says like, it took us a week to break him, which is a weird way to phrase it. I guess the implication should be that this is Tom's Yerk, especially since, if you read the books, it is. But they never say like, I was your brother's Yerk.
Yeah.
Right. And
maybe-
again, this is a great place for you to start showing scenes from Tom's perspective from earlier in the show or something. I don't know.
It seems like this show just is not interested in exploring. Like again, they just kind of treat a Yerk like you just turn evil now. they don't really they have not devoted any time to examining the specifics of your physiology and culture and how they like are an individual person inside of the head. I guess it's kind of implied, but yeah, it just doesn't. They just don't really want to like. It's like messy or something.
Yeah, I mean, in the original book when we talked about this, I was like looking at this like, oh, it's very interesting because we get to see the Yeerk's inner life, and you were like, yeah, but it doesn't work because this is the only Yeerk we've really seen the inner life of, and he's just kind of evil. And it's like, yeah, to be fair, I do think it is even better if you've read, like book 19, and you know that it's possible for this Yeerk to be good. It makes its life better, but
Yeah,
it's not.
interesting.
But yes, you are right. Like there's far less devoted to it here. And part of that, maybe I'm really getting ahead of myself here, is that there isn't a fugue in this episode.
Okay, I don't even remind me about the fugue.
So when the Yeerk dies in your head, there's like this weird, it's like this crazy, like, you like experience the Yeerk's death throes along with it, and you like Jake can feel what the Yeerk is feeling and remember what the Yeerk is remembering. And it's at the end of this fugue, which is really tough on Jake too, that he sees Krayak's eye for the first time.
Right, I did remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this one, we don't, the Yeerk just kind of dies when we get to the point where he dies. And Jake's like, oh my God, it was so hard having Yeerk in my head. But Jake doesn't go on the experience with him, which also does hurt that, you know what I mean? Like you don't get to experience the Yeerk suffering, so you don't get to like feel bad for the Yeerk.
Yeah. That's true. I was sort of curious if they would throw in a flash of Krayak's eye.
Yeah, I mean the problem is, so if this did come out in November, or I don't know, it was produced before then, clearly. So if that was the case, then the book that introduces Krayak hadn't come out yet. And which means the only time Krayak was ever referenced was Jake saw a big red eye at the end of book number 6, and what the hell was that? Nobody knows. Is it important? Will it ever come up again? Who knows? Who cares? They've never talked about it.
I still don't know the answer to that first question.
Yeah.
Can you, now that I'm remembering this book, why does he see Krayak's eye during this scene?
Because the Yeerk dies,
the
and
Yeerk
Krayak
knew about
sees him.
Krayak? Did the Yeerk, was he seeing the Yeerk's memory of Krayak?
I mean, I think that you have to interpret it. There isn't really an answer, right? Like you could see it as like, this is when Krayak first took notice of the Animorphs. He didn't care about what they were doing until they beat a Yeerk. Or maybe something about the fugue, because Jake experienced death with the Yeerk, he gets to see through the veil, like, or something like that. Like how they visit the Elemist when they die for a moment at the end. I don't know, like.
Sure, yeah.
But you do, yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. That all checks out. All right. But, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, okay. Let's back up from the very end here. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Cassie. We talked about school. Okay, so I guess. What about when he does try to escape by morph? Is that where we are?
Yeah. Well. So he has a little chat with Tobias for a minute about.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're a bird, you fucking idiot. And he's just like, I'm a Yeerk, fuck it, I'm done pretending.
Yeah, and it feels like they're trying to do Tobias character writing here, and I don't know that because he's like, you'll never be a human again, to taunt him, and I don't know that it works because I haven't seen Tobias like struggle with that, because I haven't seen Tobias.
Yeah. I thought it was fine. I mean, I was just happy to see Tobias at all.
Yeah. I don't disagree
I'll
with you.
eat whatever crumbs they want to give me.
Yeah. Fuck, we should have done an episode. Let's just have the Yeerk tell us what we should have had Tobias like lamenting about.
Right. And also in this scene, Jake's Yeerk says that they have enslaved hundreds of races. Now, we know canonically in the books that's not true. They've only enslaved like 4 or something.
Yeah, I mean, they've got members from at least dozens, but
But
actually
you
whole
could,
races, yeah.
right? You could interpret this though as the Yeerk like lying just to try to like fuck with them or like brag and not give them like. Why would he be like, we've enslaved 3 races? Like that's not as impressive.
Right.
So I don't know. I sort of think I kind of like that if you wanted to read it that way.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Why
reasonable.
not? Why not? Although, yeah, right. Because I always forget, like, because the person can access the Yeerk's memories, but not always or something. I don't know.
The Yeerk has to like show them to the person.
Right. So he could lie about something.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, then he morphs. And he's like, oh, right, morphing.
Yeah. Oh, the Yeerk also does lie because he says to Tobias, like, we could turn you back. If you let me go, I'll
right.
give you the tech to turn back, which
Right.
presumably is a lie. That would be a very strange change to make that it.
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
knows what Taylor's cooking up? Who knows what that one science guy who I think that guy maybe is Taylor.
I think you're right. There's an uncanny resemblance.
It's a name that could be for men and women.
That's true. That's true.
And maybe there's an episode coming up where he gets burned and gets a robot arm.
Yeah, and he's already so beautiful that, it'll be kind of a shock to.
So, of course, there's only one logical morph for the Yeerk to use to get away.
I have a note here. It reads, "It's Homer time."
It's Homer time, baby.
It's Homer time.
Come on in, Brian. Mr. Renfro, your moment has come.
I also you know what? We get to see it again. We get to see a hand turn into a paw, and we get a super close up of Jake's eyes turning into a dog face, which is very Doggy Woggies Poochie Woochies-esque. It would fit right in.
They also really, we talk about how they omit all the checks and balances, so to speak, of keeping Jake from escaping, but they also don't get into I feel like there was a very real discussion of like, we may have to kill Jake if he gets away.
Yes, yeah.
And that, of course, none of that is addressed.
Yeah, they're not going to talk about that here. Yeah, and, there is also the question in the book, because, like, Rachel falls asleep and he morphs. In the book, it is kind of like, why doesn't he kill? I guess he's trying to turn her over. Here, at least, it's like, okay, I get why he turns into a dog here. Because if he turns into a tiger and he's in Cassie's barn and his goal is to run through the town to the nearest Yeerk pool, he doesn't want to get spotted by the Animorphs. So if he can just get out as a dog, maybe it's okay. He doesn't have to fight his way out.
Right. And I guess it's presumed that he's been running for a long time, but the way it cuts, it seems like maybe he morphs back to human like after 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's odd. Because here they follow him and then stop him, and I guess the idea is that like we let you get away. Rachel pretended to sleep and we let you get away so you would lead us to another entrance to the Yeerk pool, which is like what, just in the middle of the woods or something?
Yeah, it's like in a local park. I don't know. I don't know
Maybe
what
they're
it is.
setting up, because I feel like there was a tree that was an exit in like one of the Hork-Bajir things. So maybe they're setting up a Hork-Bajir Chronicles.
Oh yeah, they must be.
Yeah,
probably
somehow
not.
I don't think they're going to do anything with these Hork-Bajir.
So this is fine. There is a line we missed earlier too, where Axe says, "I'd rather kiss a Hork-Bajir."
I mean, maybe he might not be lying. He doesn't know, Axe likes cigarette butts. He just wants to play around with that mouth,
I don't know
what?
if that's what the line was for.
I'm just having issues with Axe. I guess I can't really talk about you and Jake and Cassie over here. Axe is just on the brain for me.
Yeah.
Freudian slips.
I get it. But it's, they do the thing that we see a couple times in the books of, we had a plan the whole time, surprise. And it's a little half-assed, but it's fine. It's okay.
It is kind of funny when Jake like he runs there, he turns back into Jake, and then all of a sudden, scary music. There's a lion in
Yeah,
front of
yeah.
him. Oh shit! He turns around. There's a horse behind him. Oh shit! And I'm like, I don't know if that horse is. I mean,
It's the
if a horse
funniest
was
guy.
mad at me in real life, yeah, that'd be pretty scary. Because like horses are fucking big, but I don't know if it merits the same tone as a lion.
It is so funny. Oh no, a lion. Oh, a horse! And then of course Marco's famous wolf morph appears as well.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Cassie has to be a horse. She doesn't have a wolf. Her
No,
battle
she's-
morph's a skunk.
That's right. Why is she a fucking horse? I mean, I guess if a horse like kicks you, that'll hurt.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, the first, growing up not out on the farms, the first time I ever saw a horse in real life, I was just like, fuck, that thing's big. Like, I didn't really appreciate it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and
yeah,
you were
the
talking
biggest
about its
animal.
dick. Its dick
Yeah,
or-
exactly.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
but it is kind of a thing where you're like, if the biggest animal you've been around is like a 160-pound enormous dog, and you're like, okay, I know what a big animal that's domesticated looks like, and then you walk up to a horse and you're like, Jesus, like that thing could just trample me. What the fuck? Like,
yeah.
they are scary.
Trample me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Is this maybe the scene I thought where Aaron Ashmore is doubles because they're two Jakes are in the scene? What is this? The sequel to Chinatown?
Oh,
But rewatching it,
right.
I don't think they're actually in the same shot ever. So I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. Strange.
I don't know. But I don't know. One of these Jakes kind of looks like it might be an Aaron Ashmore.
Like maybe they got him because they wanted to put him in the same shot, and then they just cut that.
Yeah, like when you see him before he turns into Axe again,
Yeah.
which they do obey the laws of morphing. He turns Andalite then to Axe. That actually, oh, you know what? Yes, it definitely is.
Okay.
Because it is a continuous shot right at like 18 and a half minutes. You see Jake's face. He turns around. There is no cut over his shoulder, and there is the other. And it's if you look at it, that is a
Alright.
different faced guy.
All right. Listen, I do love that. I love the how did they pull that shot off? Did they use a mirror? Did they do some compositing? Nope, they were twins. That's fun.
That is great. It is funny to watch it because I didn't notice during the episode, but if you're looking back and forth, their faces are pretty distinct. Like they're clearly different faces. But it's in the dark and he's only on screen for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's pretty good.
That
Good
is
job,
fun.
Aaron.
Yeah, I like it. There he is. I'm glad you found him.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you pointed out on IMDb. What a good team we make.
Yeah, that's why we're the best
team?
podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, we're in the top 3
Top 3. Yeah.
Animorphs podcasts. Yeah.
Jake
All right.
stomps on this slug, which I like because there's a bit earlier where he says like, "When this is over, you'll be a smear on the bottom of my shoe." So it's like foreshadowing,
Yeah, that's
kinda
called
fun.
Chekhov's shoe smear.
Right.
Right? And the gang's all there. Tobias is watching. There's also like some black slime that comes out of his ear.
Oh, is
Pretty
there?
good.
I didn't even watch that. I mean, it's so dark.
Yeah, there's like a trail of slime down his arm when the yerk falls out.
Okay. There's
Just
some
like-
weird York slime stuff this episode. Like in the first part, they're also when they pour the Yerks out of the thermos that they always carry Yerks in, they kind of just pour gunk out. Like it's not slugs.
Yeah. And I think in this scene I'm noticing it, but I think overall in both these episodes, Sean Ashmore does a really good job. Like right as he steps on the yerk, the expression on his face, I believe that this is a guy who just went through something kind of traumatic.
Yes.
He does a good job. He does a good job with it. Given
Yeah. Yeah, no,
material.
he's very good in this episode. He does acts.
he does double
He
duty,
does-
triple duty.
Yeah, he does, because he plays himself where he's, and he plays the Yerk. And I do really like, we didn't really talk about it, but the Yerk the whole time is there is a point where he is, like, subtly suspicious because, it's like everything he says with, like, the most charming all-American, "I know I'm handsome" smile, where he's, like, clearly hitting on Cassie and Margot and everyone, and it's, like, totally fine at first, but there does come a point where it's like, "Man, everything you say is like this," and I really like that. I think that that's good. It's like the Yeerk is trying almost a little too hard to be charming, and when he's not actually like that when he's Jake, not quite. I think he does really good in this episode.
Yeah. Good job, Sean. We love you. We love you,
Yeah.
man.
There's a reason he's the only one we've heard of.
Now, okay, episode's over. We get our wrap-up scene back in the cyber cafe. I first need to just quickly point out the guy at the counter pours Jake what looks like some iced tea, maybe, in a green plastic cup. I have this cup. I have 3 colors of this cup. I believe they came from IKEA. I've had them since I was a kid, and I took them with me from my family home. I have a green one, a red one, and a purple one. They're my favorite cups. I drink out of them on a daily basis. And that's the cup right in that episode. Now, it's a simple green cup. It gets wider at the top, narrower at the bottom. It's a really good, solid cup. It lasts decades. I love it. And there it is on screen right there.
What is happening over there?
I'm excited to see this cup that I recognize. It's one of my favorite cup. What? That's weird. It's not a common cup. It's not a cup you see in every household. So it's great to see it represented on screen. They probably don't make this cup anymore. I would be devastated if I lost these cups. I love these cups. And Jake loves it too. And now I'm going to drink and I'm going to think, I'm drinking out of Jake's cup.
Drinking out of cups?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I wasn't expecting to spend that much time on Jake's cup here.
And then there's a scene. Then some stuff happens, right? We get the bit we said already with Cassie and Jake, so we covered that.
Which I liked. The Cassie stuff in this episode is good. It doesn't pass the Bechdel test because it's all about Cassie and Jake, but there's only so much you can ask for. No, I think it's good. It works well. They play well off each other. I like it.
Yeah, Rachel does have an opportunity to touch Jake again once more before this episode is over.
Right, yes, of course.
So this whole scene here, this ending scene is kind of like the epilogue or something.
Yeah.
Is set to a specific song.
The fucking song. Oh my god. Like,
now, this is a real song. I looked it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I found it too.
Okay, good. It's on YouTube. I listened to it a few times.
I didn't actually really listen through it.
Oh yeah, I looked at the lyrics. I was very invested in what this song was.
Good. It was very funny to me. Like, they're playing this inspirational piano music, and it is a different. This is a real song, and you can kind of immediately tell this is not off the soundtrack. So, I'm just starting laughing, oh, they're putting this dumb, and then the lyrics come in, and it's just so, I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I like this scene. I like the use of this song, but it is so over the top cheesy that it is really funny.
Yes, it's extremely cheesy. That is the word for it. So the song is called Song Unsung.
Mm-hmm.
And critics say maybe it should have stayed that way. This is the first song on Eden White's debut album, This Is the Way, which was released in October 1998. So this is like a new song when this episode came out. This is a hot new song.
Yeah. Well, this is her debut album, so that's probably why they got this. It's we need the rights to a song. Can we fucking just grab this one? This lady just made it. Nobody's heard of her yet.
I was going to say, is she Canadian? But she's not. She's American.
Or possibly she sold it. She was like, I need a way to get my album heard. Who will put my song in their show?
I mean, this is like the next best thing to having your song like in a Buffy episode or Dawson's Creek or something.
Yeah,
This
well,
is,
maybe not the next best thing, but
this was not a single. It was not the single release from this album, but it was the first track, so that's something. She only had 2 albums, and then she disappeared. But I don't know. But I guess I would try to. Here's how some of the lyrics go. Foggy nights are never kind. Icy roads are even less forgiving. Should have watched over you like the prodigal son. But now I'm just a song left unsung. If you aren't listening to the song and you haven't listened to it, maybe I'll insert a clip. The best way I can describe it sort of has an Alanis Morissette vibe, but also kind of gospel-y in a way.
Okay,
Kind of like a 90s alternative piano, but very like, maybe it's just a line about the prodigal son, and she mentions God too, but it does have a little bit of a Christian vibe to it.
yeah, it does. I don't know if I would have gone there, but when you said it, I was like, yeah, that's not. I 100% agree. Like when you're thinking of this, it is like, imagine White Lady on a Piano song from the late 90s. Like specifically, that is what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like, Adele, White Lady on a Piano. That's a totally different genre.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very cheesy. The whole scene it gives this scene this very over the top, emotional, melodramatic kind of tone, but I kind of also like it.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
I like it. The scene is so this is the scene in the book. We have basically the same scene where Jake calls Tom and changes his voice to be like, Tom, never give up. And it's kind of a cheesy scene, but it's emotional and it's a good scene in the book, and it hits those same beats here. I like it.
Yeah.
And given how goofy this show is, it's not wrong to be like, listen, when you do this moment, just make it over the top. Just make it a little
Sure.
too much. It works. I think it works. I like it.
They earned it. Now, I
Yeah.
do not remember in the book, I don't think they built this voice modulator
No.
and like phone masking thing in a public place, or did they even build one at all?
No, in the books, Jake goes to a payphone and morphs halfway to a wolf, so he sounds weird.
Right. Here they're like in the middle of a public cyber cafe with
Yeah.
wire. They've just hijacked a computer. Nobody minds that they're doing this, and they're fucking with it and
Yeah, I feel like
inserting
people
shit.
at a certain point are going to be like, yeah, there's that weird kid who comes in and eats food like every day. He's always fucking with the computers and building stuff, and it would be like all the normal people would be like, yeah, sure, there's some weird kid who does that. That's normal. But like if you're a yerk, you're kind of like, so are there any weird kids hanging around the cyber cafe fucking with the computers? Because like that's a good candidate for an Andalite.
This is why you need a chi
Right.
for scenes like this.
Guess we need a chi for her and
Okay, come
me.
on.
Chi.
Hey, there's Rachel groping her cousin after that phone call. And she like leaves her hand lingers on her back. I mean, and then Cassie puts her hand too. Oh no, it's Marco. Marco gets in there. That makes more sense.
Well, you
Oh
got.
no, Cassie. They've all got their arm. Everyone but Axe has an arm on Jake. They
Everyone
all want a
fucking
piece of
wants Jake. Like, what do you?
it. What can you do?
How could they not?
He's the leader. But what was I even going to say? I've lost it. It's nice to also see Tom. There's a minute where like his hand shakes and it's like, oh, is Tom in there still? And
Yeah, that's a nice payoff. Because in the book, again, it's all Jake's perspective. So we just hear, Jake says that, and he's like, I know Tom heard it because I've been there. It's nice to actually see Tom's handshake, and his yerk face looks a little shook. Like he's like, fuck, I can't believe he made the handshake. It's nice. It's a good addition.
Yeah. And you also like, that's one of the sorest spots, one of them for me of the series is I don't think you get enough Tom stuff. And I think you never get to see him, maybe like for 2 minutes you see him not yerked ever. So, I mean, he's still yerked here, but it's
Yeah.
something. I'm glad that it's something.
Yeah. No,
Um,
agree. Like, yeah, I think on the whole, the episode did drop the ball a little on Tom just because there was so much opportunity to show us like Tom's actual perspective and thoughts from the Yerk, inside Jake's head because of the fact that it didn't do that. But they do have this. This is a good, as you said, everything that's outside of Jake's head with the Yerk, all the stuff in the book that was kind of boring is done well.
Yeah, and it's the cerebral, like, in talking in your head stuff that I understand why that's much harder to accomplish.
Yeah.
That lends itself to writing more naturally, I think.
Yeah.
They could have done better, but
Yeah, and I maybe to shit talk them a little. Like
yeah, give 'em some shit.
if what you want to do is be like, let's do some like, oh, the teens are gonna hang out and be goofy at Jake's house with Axe. That lends itself to the kind of writing that the people who are making Goosebumps can do. And as you said, the more cerebral stuff is maybe not what these people are used to doing.
Right. So while that aspect, which that's the aspect that is probably the most important of the episode, and that's probably the weakest aspect. In spite of that, if I were being real optimistic, I might say that the show is starting to hit its stride at this point. I think these 2 episodes as a whole are definitely the strongest that we've seen, and the characters are starting to gel as a group better than they have before, and it feels like they are kind of figuring out what they are able to do well and where their weak spots are, and they're like kind of focusing on what they can do and making that work. And I don't know, this feels like maybe it could be a turning point where the show is starting to get good.
I'd have to think about it to say whether I thought these were the strongest, but they are certainly like some of the best. And yeah, the fact that, I had some Cassie stuff that I liked in the message, okay, and then we're not really seeing that again. And it's like, all right, well, here we go. We've got more Cassie stuff that I like. That's a good sign. We've got Cassie stuff I like. We've got Jake stuff I like. We've got Marco being good. We've got Axe being good. Yeah, Tobias is still lacking. Rachel is doing better than she, like, almost ever has, but still is a little bit lacking. But yeah, I think on the whole, most of the character relationships are done better in this episode than, we normally see. So
I think that, yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought.
no, that was basically my thought.
I think that the issue of this episode, and maybe I've said this before too, but whatever. I'm nothing if not repetitive. Um, the issue is more about the rest of the series episodes than this one in particular. Like, I think the fact that, like, I think Tobias, Cassie, and Rachel were fine in this episode because, like, when you're juggling this many characters and you have so much time, it makes sense you lean on certain characters more than others. So for what they needed to do, I liked where they were. The issue is that we still haven't had a really strong Tobias episode. But, like, if there had been one before, then I don't think, like, this episode did anything wrong in regards to his character. I think his character was pretty good in here. It's just that we're feeling an overall lack because we haven't really gotten him in the mix as much.
Yeah. Like, as a counterexample, Marco, relative to normal in this episode, really takes a back seat. Like, Marco is very not present compared to how present he normally is. And that's, like, totally fine because he's been so at the forefront of, like, what they've been doing that's good. He is still, like, more present than, Tobias for sure. But, like, it's kind of like, okay, that's fine, right? I don't need to see that much of Marco. I can get by with snippets because I've seen so much of him. Whereas, yeah, like you said, I can't get by with snippets of Tobias as well.
We need an Ellimist. I don't like, what
Yeah.
are they waiting for? We need to get him. I guess this is book 6, so technically it would be the next episode. Sounds like that's not happening.
I don't think that's happening, no.
But, like, we need this kid to be a kid. It's hurting them.
Or they need to take a chance and do an entirely bird-centric episode. Like,
Yeah.
in the book series, like book 3 is told from the perspective of a bird. And
Right.
that's not something that you couldn't do, right? Like, that is within the realm of possibility, but it does seem like they are not really able or willing to do that for whatever reason. And it's possible that maybe they want to, and the producers are like, we're not doing a bird-centric episode. Nobody's going to watch that. I don't know. But yeah, if we don't have one of those, we need an Elemist, 100%.
I also think it goes back to the RPG leveling analogy that everyone loved so much. We got a lot of emails about how good it was. Where it's, if you wait too long, all these kids are going to have chemistry with each other, all these actors, and not the actor playing Tobias, because he's literally has just been doing voiceovers in a booth. So now you can make that work. You can play that up for his character maybe, but it could be an issue if they all are in a room and one of them doesn't feel like he belongs. Well, again, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they could use that to their advantage. I don't know.
It would help if they had a better voice director, because I don't think that their voices are well used at all here.
I just think it's funny that he's in the opening credits, is not in most of these episodes, and Axe isn't, and now is. Like, what is such a strange thing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we did it. That's a 2-parter in the books.
Yeah. We and that wasn't too bad. That was the length of an old episode, so it's okay. Everything's okay.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Listeners, if you have a thought about this show, email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
We'll read it. Anything Animorphs related, really. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/theyerkyboys. And we do bonus episodes there every week about stuff related to Animorphs, adjacent sci-fi, books, movies, TV, all kinds of fun stuff. This week, we will be watching Invaders from Mars, the 1953 sci-fi movie, which you may remember was featured in the last week's episode of Animorphs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're watching it.
So if you're excited, if you listened to us talk about that movie last week and you're like, damn, I want to know about that movie, now would be the time to subscribe.
That movie, which is 70 years old. You realize that?
Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah. If you want to follow me online, you can. Check out my website, jonathanestis.com. Remember, like Expedia?
Yeah. No, pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be talking about Season 1, Episode 11, The Reaction, in which maybe Rachel turns into a crocodile, on the Yerky Boys.